Good afternoon, everyone. If I could ask you to take a seat, I'm going to call this meeting to order. It says the regular county commission meeting for June 27th, 2022. We begin our meetings, as we usually do, with the invocation and the pledge. And if you would like to join us in those, we'd ask you to stand at this time, and I'm going to ask Pastor Doug Alexander to come forward and lead us in that place.
Thank you. Well, you got somebody here. I think he's ready to.
Ask those gentlemen to move on over so you can have the podium.
Okay. First of all, thank you for allowing me to be here today. Let's go before the Lord and pray and ask God to bless this meeting here today. Heavenly Father, we come to you in the name that's above every name, Jesus Christ. Father, we ask you to bless this meeting today. Bless those that govern over this meeting, our commissioners, Father. We're thankful and grateful for all our citizens and the job that they do. Bless these commissioners, their families, their loved ones. Bless Citrus County. We're grateful for this county. We're grateful for the citizens. Those that have entered in this room today, we pray for their safety and blessing and strength. And we just pray for a peaceful commission meeting today. Now, Lord, just bless us in all we do today. We ask this in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We have a roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
This is a regular meeting of the Citrus County Board of County Commissioners this 27th day of June, 2022. In attendance are Chairman Ronald D. Kitchen, Jr., First Vice Chair Ruthie Schleybaugh, Second Vice Chair Holly Davis, Commissioners Scott Carnahan and Jeff Kennard, Management and Budget Director Colleen Scott, and County Attorney Denise A. Diamond Lynn.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next item is the adoption of the agenda. We've been asked to add a few items. First one is item E16, which is the soccer contract. Also K1, which is clarification and direction on the airport signs we talked about. We've also, whoever's cell phone that is, if you could turn it off, please. Also, we've been asked to add item E17, which is the Core Center contract with the Chamber. I'm going to object to that being added. It is not an emergency item. It has not been advertised, and I believe the commissioners have just got some additional information lately, and I'm sure the public is going to be interested in that information as well. So I am very uncomfortable about making a decision to spend $90,000 without the citizens of Citrus County being in the loop on that. So I am not going to ask that being added to the agenda. So I'd be looking for adoption of the agenda with the addition of item E16 and K1. So I have a motion by Commissioner Carnahan. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a second by Commissioner Kennard. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimously. So I believe after further investigation of the Core Center contract, we'll probably have that on the next agenda with all the backup, if that's what the wishes of the board is. Okay, at this time we will move on to the consent agenda, which is the minutes, that starts with the minutes and proceeds through, I believe it's B18. Is there anything you all would like to do with the consent agenda?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Carnahan, a second by Commissioner Schleybaugh. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Any further discussion by the commissioners? I do have one question. We're only being presented B6 as the audited financial statements, just saying we've received them, and we have. But I was quite curious how the net position has changed to a minus $21 million. Any other commissioners curious about that?
Yes, sir.
Do we have an explanation from anybody? Could
My
tell-
understanding is that they moved a lot of money into their retirement fund.
Okay.
But that's my understanding. Other than that, I would really like to have some more clarification on it.
Okay, so for the record, I think we can say we're acknowledging receipt of the audit, and the audit had no findings, which basically says the auditor didn't find anything illegal out of the ordinary, but if somebody handed me something with a net negative position of $21 million, I would sure like to know what happened there. So perhaps in the future, the board may get briefed on what the background on that was. So with that said, we had a motion by Commissioner Carnahan, second by Commissioner Slaybach to adopt the consent agenda. There was no public comment on those. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. And that passes unanimously. Next up, we are to proclamations, which consists of item C1. Is there a motion to approve item C1?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve C1.
Second.
So Commissioner Davis makes a motion, second by Commissioner Slaybach. Any other commissioner discussion?
Yes. I asked that
Yes,
this.
Commissioner Davis.
I asked to put this on here because I don't know how many of y'all have seen the movie, but Miles Teller did a fantastic job in the movie, and with my aviation and my own family's Top Gun experience, I decided that that would be a really great thing. There's actually a picture of him. Not only did he do a fabulous job in the movie, but he actually managed to get in a picture of him in his Lecanto baseball uniform. So that is being seen worldwide. And so today is Miles Teller's Day.
Okay. So that said, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. And that passes unanimously. Is anybody here, Doug, to receive this?
No, sir, that I'm aware of.
Okay. You want to read it into the record then, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The Board of County Commissioners of Citrus County, Florida, Proclamation Miles Teller Day. Whereas the Citrus County community is proud of Citrus County native Miles Teller and his accomplishment. Miles has starring role in the hit movie Top Gun Maverick. And whereas Miles attended Lecanto Middle High School and Lecanto High School, where he played baseball, which was a big part of his life, and was enrolled in dramatic arts program. When the studio asked for pictures of Miles to be shown in the movie, he was proud to use a picture of himself wearing the Lecanto baseball uniform. Whenever Miles is interviewing, he shares his hometown name and experience. And whereas for Miles, Citrus County will always be home no matter where he is, and loves sharing his hometown of Citrus County with everybody. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners does hereby proclaim June 27, 2022 as Miles Teller Day in Citrus County, Florida, signed by all 5 county commissioners.
Thank you very much, Doug.
And may I
Yes,
make one other
sure.
comment? I heard from second person, the folks that are his parents and his people are incredibly excited about this. They just had to be away on family business and couldn't be here, but they wanted to pass along how grateful they are.
Very good. Okay, we will now move on to open to the public. If you've been here before, you know how this works. If you haven't been here before, just a quick reminder, we give folks 3 minutes each. There'll be a timer on the podium there. Please watch it so you'll be aware of when your time expires. If you're here and you have written permission from an organization to speak on their behalf filed with the clerk, let us know. We'll give you 5 minutes. We ask that you fill out a green card for speaking either before, during, or after and give it to the clerk. And when you speak, if you would just give us your name and your address so we know who you are and where you're from. And also, just common courtesy and civility, we ask all during our meeting that you don't talk. If you have to speak and carry on a conversation, please take it outside the room so you don't distract others. And when people are speaking, if you agree with them, great, don't applaud. If you don't agree with them, don't boo. Treat everybody nicely the way you'd like to be treated, and we will move right on through this and hear what everybody has to say. So, Pastor Alexander, I believe you're up first there, sir.
Thank you. Doug Alexander, to the County Commission. I'm here today in recognition of the federal holiday that's been given, Juneteenth, which is June the 19th. We did not celebrate this year in Citrus County. I'm asking that Citrus County would consider it to be celebrated next year, June the 19th, which is everywhere. It's the oldest known holiday that celebrates the end of slavery in the United States. It is celebrated in other counties, Marion County in particular. It is a federal holiday. You have employees that work for you guys, and we asking that they have the opportunity to be able to have that day off and celebrate, and also that Citrus County would consider that. As I said, it is a federal holiday, and we like to be, I know Citrus County can be above the ground here and ahead of the game as we, lead Florida into the next dimension.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay?
Yes. And again, for those of you that haven't been here before, the board will listen to all public comment, and then when everybody's finished speaking, the board will respond to whoever, everybody, or that they wish. So
Thank you.
We'll address this later. Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Maxine Connor, Homosassa, requesting the chair, may I have 5 minutes as being on file for League of Women Voters of Citrus County, please?
Go to the clerk. Yes, ma'am. You got 5 minutes. You recognize 5 minutes.
Thank you. I would like to thank Commissioner Schleba for arranging 2 public workshops on the Northern Turnpike extension so that residents, constituents, anyone interested can put forth information and comment on that. That provided a forum for citizens, homeowners and property owners, and local organizations to present facts and their concerns, including environmental and other impacts. Also, thank you to each and every commissioner for patiently listening to extensive public comment, and sometimes emotional, on this issue at BOCC meetings and the workshops, and for carefully considering, in some cases maybe even modifying your position in light of more information being presented. So thank you to Florida's Audubon's Charles Lee for bringing a fresh perspective at the last meeting here on June 14th and bringing important information that I had not seen before myself on the Turnpike, Northern Turnpike extension. He was in a unique position because he served on the I-75 Relief Task Force study, and he presented more facts regarding the North A corridor, which was the northernmost and the longest corridor. And he pointed out that the original draft resolution from the BOCC seemed to endorse the North A corridor. Didn't say that, but he pointed out it looked like that. So he proposed eliminating that by changing some words in the original draft resolution, and that's why the two choices are on the agenda today. He pointed out that the North A route has the greatest environmental impact, and I'll just quote what he said. He said it takes out 2.5 miles of a linear path across the Halapatta-Tastanaka Preserve, owned by Swiftmud. It crosses through the Cross Florida Greenway. It skirts along the eastern edge of the Gothi State Forest. It will take out actual parcels of the conservation land at the eastern edge of Gothi, and more importantly, it will serve as a very strong impediment against prescribed fire management of the Gothi State Forest. He pointed out how I-75 is fixable the same way that I-4 was fixed with the I-4 Ultimate project. He pointed out how I-75 is fixable the same way the Central Florida Expressway Authority is about to launch a project to double-deck a section of State Road 414 in Seminole and Orange counties. So we are glad that both resolutions are on the table today, that both are no-build, but we urge you to adopt the stronger of the two, which is the one opposing all 4 routes. Please adopt Alternative B, as it's labeled in the agenda, which is a no-build resolution for the proposed Northern Turnpike extension, and it's a recommendation for continued study of improvement or expansion of existing roadways, including the expansion or improvement of I-75. And thank you very much for your time and for allowing public comment.
Thank you very much for being here. Can we have the next speaker, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Paul John Reinhardt, candidate for State House District 23. And as you well know, I was appearing in front of all the involved counties and all the involved cities. And I was happy that we reached a point of predominantly, if not all, except maybe Marion with the no-build resolutions. And I also concur with the prior speaker. You should choose Alternative B, because that would be the best environmental approach. And I believe that I-75 could be approved in a fashion that she mentioned. The wildlife corridor would be saved, our lakes and streams, when we wouldn't destroy our aquifer. I met with air boaters, professors, people helped me that were Republicans, Democrats, no parties at all. Keep in mind that when you swore into this office, it's a well-settled policy of Florida you took the oath on the Constitution, the policy is to conserve and protect its natural resources and scenic beauty. That's in the Florida Constitution, Article 2, Section 7. I also want to say that I have my buddies here from WAR and water groups, and I just feel that the state should stop kowtowing to the petrochemical industry. We need to stop herbicides sprayed by FWC that have glyphosate and acrolein, poisoning on manatees, causing pancreatic cancer. There's 17 chemicals that FWC sprays. Crystal River is the second highest manatee death rate due to poisoning in Florida. Let's prevent the poisoning. That way we could save the legislative treatment costs. I'm working with conservationists statewide, and I got to tell you what I told Dr. Mazzullo and myself. We took an oath in medical school to do no harm. Now you people play doctor and do no harm. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Brian Namath. I'm a marine scientist from Bell Baruch Institute of Technology in South Carolina. I've been in Florida my whole life. Dr. Reinhardt is nice enough to invite me here. We're talking about spraying. We'll just get to it. We're in dire straits here. I don't know if you even realize how bad this is. I wish everyone would Google glyphosate contamination in Florida manatees. Write that all down. That's all you need to do is to read that, okay? Read that. We're in trouble. Our porpoises, everything. Our mammals are poisoned. The cancer rate has went crazy in them. We're next. That's all I need to say. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Karen Este. I have to agree with the previous speakers. I'm asking you today to be good stewards of our land. And as you ponder the votes today, I ask you to consider taking on the approval of no build on any of the routes, and be consistent with the other agencies and the other counties that have also done that. Again, we need to be good stewards of the land, protect what we have here, have things be complementary to what we already have, as opposed to things coming in and changing our way of life, things that are natural to this community. That's what brings people into this county. We have a lot of assets, and I really would dislike them to be disrupted. You're going to hear from other people today, but it's very important that you really take heart of being stewards of everything. Our ecosystems are suffering terrible because of overdevelopment that these roads have brought in. All we see is constant concrete and asphalt being put down. We clear cut all the trees. We don't know what's nesting in those trees. And if we kill whatever's in those nesting on the trees and all the ground cover, guess what happens? We lose next year's generations. And then what happens if things become extinct and we just come threatened extinct and they just no longer exist? And that's what's happening. And it's just not Citrus County, it's across the world. We can no longer clear cut trees and overdevelop to keep things going. We as humans depend on all of this, and I'm asking you to be very careful to take all of this into consideration today and put no build across the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you fill out a form, please? Could we have the next speaker? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Barbara Ocasio, and I live in 10258 North Gardner Way, Citrus Springs, Florida. And my partner in crime wanted to stay home today, so she's not with me.
I was wondering.
Yeah. She said, stay home. Okay. I want to also agree with all the voters, all the people that have spoken regarding our wildlife, our aquifer. It is true, it is in danger. If you do the homework, you see Florida is in sick. They're in the hospital, the whole state of Florida, not just Citrus County. I myself never even noticed the sudden building and destruction until just this past couple of years. And it's scary when you look out there and you move here and see beautiful trees and then all of a sudden they're gone. Animals you hear in the morning, you used to hear all the time in the morning, you don't hear them no more, you know? I've been a Republican for more than 40 years. And through the year, and this is not Democrat, Republican, Independent problem. It's a people problem. And we need to stand up and save what we have left of Florida. I have something I would like to read, and then I'll be done. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and alliance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of this office on which I am about to enter, so help me God. Unite with the people, please. Thank you. Do us proud.
Thank you.
We have, well, one more thing. We don't have enough heroes in the government. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, the next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Kathy Sokolain. I live in Dunellen. I have 5 acres. I'm here for me and all my neighbors. We all live rural. We have 2.5 acres up to 40-acre parcels. We have fought the Sable Trail pipeline in 2016, and we are back to fight again the Northern Turnpike extension. We ask, just like everyone else has asked, that you take the no-build stance, and we like our rural living, and that's basically it. We just like the stars. We don't want concrete all over, and we are zoned agricultural, and we don't bother anybody until we're bothered. That's it. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. We have the next speaker. Ma'am, can you fill out a green card, please? Yes, sir.
Michael McGrath, Fort Myers, Florida. I'll be speaking on today on behalf of Sierra Club, Florida, and the chapter, and also on behalf of all of our members and all supporters here within Citrus County. I just want to begin by saying I applaud this board really for listening to public input, and also for listening to residents regarding the Northern Turnpike extension, and really for helping to lead the charge on opposing this proposal. So really, you guys have done an exemplary job of showing leadership from a county commission as a board together in a cohesive manner. So thank you for that. So today, when it comes up on the agenda for the Northern Turnpike extension, we would certainly encourage you to adopt the resolution that opposes all 4 of the proposed routes for the Northern Turnpike extension. We feel that this resolution, really does thread the needle and sends a very clear message to representatives from the Florida Turnpike Enterprise, state leadership such as the governor, and also powerful leaders within the legislature as well. That Citrus County doesn't want to see these toll roads come through your community or any of the communities within the 4-county study area. So again, we just encourage you to adopt the stronger of the 2 no-bill resolutions today when it comes up for public hearing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Go to the next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Mark Bateman. I live at 1273 West Diamond Shore Loop in Hernando. I want to contrast 2 approaches here. There's the NIMBY approach and there's the no-build approach. Or if I can do a little play on words, the no-build-T approach, the noble approach. There's a world of difference between saying NIMBY, not in my backyard. You can build it somewhere else, but you can't build it in my backyard, and saying we don't want it at all. There's no demonstrated need for it. It has lots of negative consequences. Somebody wants to turn this county, this beautiful rural county that we moved here precisely because there's so much state forest, there's wildlife refuge, there's wetlands preservation, and there's farmland. And I know I'd like to shut the door right now and say nobody else come to Citrus County, but I can't do that. Let's preserve, though, what drew me in the first place, the character of this county. I've read that many studies, there's not been any study that really demonstrates there's a need for this. And the second thing that I'd like to stress is that all these jurisdictions that I understand, there are several who have said no build. That says we don't need it, and we don't want you to put it anywhere. Then there's the NIMBY approach. That's one of the approaches, one of the alternative we're considering is the NIMBY approach, not in my backyard. You can build anywhere you want, but just don't build it in my backyard. But there's a world of difference between Citrus County and Levy County and what other jurisdictions say. If they all say, we don't want it, we don't think it's necessary, that's what you send the message with the no build. But if you send a NIMBY message, a little weaseling skirt around the point, then you break the solidarity of all the people here who are calling for you to say no build. Other jurisdictions have done it. Please live up to your calling to be the voice of the people and send a loud and clear voice from the citizens of Citrus County, no build. Thank you.
Thank you. Go to the next speaker, please.
Hey, Bill Harris, Cassia Drive, Crystal River. I presume we're talking mainly about the no build.
You can talk about anything you want. This is open to
Well,
the
we can go
public about it.
all kind of things. I mean, I just ramble on for hours here. But
Yeah. You can talk about anything you want in 3 minutes.
I'm opposed to the parkway. I mean, everything I get from the state and what they show, they try to sell it under the disguise of it's a hurricane evacuation route. Well, it doesn't take a very smart person to figure out hurricanes come from the Gulf Coast, run at the Big Bend area. So let's funnel traffic to the north towards the Big Bend area when a hurricane approaches. Now, what it does do is how much traffic comes down the eastern seaboard and travels down 95 or down from the Atlanta area down 75? How many people actually come from the west? You know, it doesn't make sense. All it's going to do is destroy this is supposed to be the nature coast. Let the turnpike come and it's gone. I mean, I've been in a battle stopping a lot of wetland development going on and have actually stopped some of it. And looking at the U.S. Fish and Wildlife National Wetland Inventory in the areas they're wanting to go through, kiss it goodbye. I mean, what we have right now between 19 and the Gulf is our natural barrier for hurricanes. That's it. Once it's gone, it's over. I don't care what SwiftMud tells you or the Florida DEP. They're in their infancy in taking on this project. They've only had basically this year since it was handed over to them by the Corps of Engineers. I do know that there are federal actions being filed right now to remove that power from the Florida DEP and have it returned back to the Corps of Engineers, which needs to happen. But just say no, we don't need it. All it's going to create is more traffic, more crime, everything. You know, it depends. What do you want the county to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now? Do you want it to be another Tampa? Do you want it to be another Miami, Jacksonville? Is that what you want? Or do you want it to be preserved? And then, you know, with all the people that come in, we're pouring more and more crap back into the waterways, which is going to be ultimately channeled back into the Gulf. So how much aquatic life do we want to lose? You know, how many fisheries? You know, there's a lot of things here that, you know, we've got the manatee are the biggest threat. Build it. We're already killing the manatee off right now. They're being overpressured with population of people going to it. So it's up to you. If you pass it, you want it, this is what's the future. If you don't want it, stop it, save it. The county will benefit in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Whoever's got the phone making the sound effects, please turn it off, okay? Next speaker, please.
Hi. John DiMaria, Citrus Springs. It seems unlikely that even several lifetimes of further study of the alternative route, Northern A, will change the realities of what it is and what it is not. While it is true that a 75-mile, 4-lane toll road would help during a hurricane evacuation, I don't believe it provides any other tangible benefits to Citrus, Marion, Sumter, or Levy counties. It is unlikely to improve anyone or anything's quality of life. It is an inefficient, destructive, incredibly costly, and wildly disproportional means to address either local traffic congestion issues or as a way to somehow spur economic growth. It is a ticking time bomb of unintended, potentially devastating environmental consequences. As a resident of Citrus County, I am asking that we find our moral footing and say unequivocally that the entire Northern Turnpike extension was and is a terrible idea for all of Florida. It is my hope that the Citrus County Commissioners will unanimously endorse the no-build option, and also declare that if these are the best solutions for the real long-term problems local governments face coming from Tallahassee, that our state government should prioritize locating a better, more diverse, and creative group of problem solvers, so that bad ideas like the Northern Turnpike extension are left to the garbage bin of history and not dragged out every few years to upset the residents of Central Florida.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I'm Mark Sevesque. I live in Beverly Hills. I'm here to represent the Pine Ridge Property Owners Association. As you know, it's a very large community, largest named community in Citrus County with over 11,000 residents. And on their behalf, we'd like to thank you for your careful consideration of the public input regarding the Northern Turnpike extension. We'd also like to applaud you for your leadership in drafting a no-build resolution for the to go to the Florida Department of Transportation regarding that. There are two options before the board, two alternatives before the board. We strongly recommend that you go with the second alternative, the stronger alternative, where there is a no-build option. That is what is responsive, we believe, to the public input that you've received, and we thank you very much for your consideration of this. Much of all the consideration that has gone before me, I do not want to repeat, so I'm being brief here. But I think the evidence, the data, and the emotion both line up very strongly towards that no-build option. Thank you very much for your time and the job that you do.
Thank you very much. We have the next speaker, please.
Hello, Commissioners. Bill White, Mayor of Dunellen, also a property owner in Citrus County. I believe my property, my farm, is in Mr. Kennard's district. I have a farm that I raise miniature donkeys, and it's on 488 near the intersection of 41 and 488. I believe that's your area. I'm here to speak and to strongly support your initiative on the no-build position. We support the clean version of it, the no-build, with the caveat that if there's improvements that are needed to build and rebuild the roads that are currently in place. We know that Florida has 20 million people, and we've all heard that up to 1,000 people a day are moving into Florida. That is problematic to all of us that are in government positions. We struggle with this in Dunellen. What do we do with the influx of people? You can't put a gate or a wall around Florida or your city, so you have to deal with it. So how do we best deal with it? We best deal with it with what we call smart growth, smart development. We all say that, and that is interpreted different ways in different places. But if we're going to admit that there were 7 million people here in 1970 when I graduated from Largo High School, and there's 20 million people here now, then if we're admitting that we are growing and we admit that we have to deal with it smartly, then what's the next step? We all agree on that. The next step is then to preserve what is still there, knowing that the influx of people is going to gobble it up. This is no longer the attitude of the old pioneer, that the land was there to conquer, the land was there to be used. This right now, the land has been conquered and the land has been used. Right now, we have an obligation to preserve and protect what's left. When we advertise Florida, we advertise the beaches, the horses, the pastures, the springs. I don't see us advertising concrete roads, traffic jams, something that resembles US 19. So what we're trying to do when we advertise in Florida is to protect what we have. So I'm here to lend support and thank you for what you're doing and hope that you adopt your resolution, no build. And if you want to do something repair what's already there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Do we give him five?
No.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, we should have given you 5 minutes, so if you need an additional few minutes to state anything else, I'm sorry, we didn't tell you that at the beginning, but it's obvious you represent the city of Dunellen, so.
Well, I sure appreciate it, but I made my point.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, we appreciate you being here. Can we have the next speaker, please?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Dan Hilyard on behalf of Withlacoochee Aquatic Restoration. A short time ago, Mr. Charles Lee made a very insightful and lucid presentation about alternatives, one of which was to improve 75 and have no build across the board. One of the issues expressed in the past is that we have other alternatives locally, such as improving 491, 41, and I could go on. One of the objections that has been raised has to do with impacts on water resources. Quite some years ago, back in the general vicinity of 2008, as I recall, DEP released a report, a part of which detailed the contribution of water resources to the state's annual gross product. Number 2 was agriculture at about $100 billion a year. Number 1 was inland and nearshore coastal waters in excess of $600 billion a year. I think we should be protective of the goose that laid that golden egg, and ask you sincerely to go for the complete no-build option on this. We don't need it. We have a lot of people in the state, and yes, there's been discussion about hurricane evacuations. I had a thought, just for what it might be worth. Just because there's a hurricane doesn't mean you need to go north. I worked overnight right in the middle of Hurricane Andrew at my job. A lot of people went west, so the storm, by the time they got to the west coast, it was very much downplayed. And I think people are responsible for their actions. You have different directions you can escape. And yeah, we had a problem with, I think it was Hermaine, but we can address those issues independently. People are here because of what Citrus County is, not because of what it will become. So I ask you again, take Mr. Lee's commentary to heart and support the no-build option. Thank you.
Thank you. Could we have the next speaker, please?
Good afternoon. I'm Eugene Kelly. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Florida Native Plant Society and the 100-plus members that we have here in Citrus County. I've spoken to you before about our concerns associated with the Northern Turnpike extension and our hope that you would support a no-build alternative. I was going to read a few excerpts from the Citizen's Guide to Transportation Planning, but I really don't think that's necessary. It basically explains that local governments through the MPOs play the lead role in transportation planning, working in concert with the Department of Transportation, but the leaders of that effort are the local governments, in this case Citrus County. I believe, I might be jumping the gun a bit here, but I fully expect you're going to pass a no-build alternative. Hopefully it'll be the one that opposes all 4 of the proposed alternative routes. I want to thank you for your responsiveness to the public. You've been very receptive to our concerns. I want to thank you for asserting your authority, your proper role in transportation planning, because in essence, I believe that's what you'll be doing when you pass a no-build resolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And the next speaker, please.
Hi, Ron Kears. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here today as a concerned parent and as a sponsor of kids and family that play soccer here in Inverness at Holden Park. And in light of the last meeting 2 weeks ago, I'm asking the board and recommending strongly that you not sign the lease that was discussed with the tenants that are currently there, and that's our reason why a lot of us are here today, to ask you to consider that and not to sign the lease. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have the next speaker, please?
Hi, I'm Katie Fitzpatrick, Hernando, Florida. First, I want to thank you for considering our concerns regarding the Holden Park lease. And I'm here today to discuss two concerns. I previously voiced my concerns via email to you all, so I don't want to go through all of that. But one thing I do want to start with is our season does not start until late September, so I urge you not to make this decision in haste. There is time to find a better resolution for these children. There are 600 kids out there, and our concerns not only speak to the violations of the lease, but the integrity of the board running this organization. And so first I want to say that it was previously stated that there are no vendors other than the ice cream truck out there. I personally purchased merchandise from a vendor called Southern Pride Design. I have my credit card receipt proving I did not pay Citrus United Soccer. I indeed paid Southern Pride Design for a sweatshirt for my daughter who was cold at a soccer game. There are other parents with receipts behind me. That vendor is the treasurer of the soccer organization itself, and they were indeed representing Southern Pride Design and not Citrus United Soccer. In fact, I've purchased several things over the years from them as Southern Pride Design, not Citrus United Soccer. Lastly, I do want to state that I read the lease between Citrus United Soccer Club, Inc., and the board. Just so you know, Citrus United Soccer Club, Inc. is a separate entity, not the entity that Mr. Grant represents here today. He represents East Citrus Soccer League, DBA Citrus United Soccer League, not club. You signed a lease with an entity called Citrus United Soccer Club. It begs the question, why are there different entities and different DBAs? Who's running the concession stand? Which entity is receiving the monies? We don't understand the difference between these entities as voting members of this board. I'm a coach, I'm a parent, I'm a voting member of the board. We don't understand the difference between these entities and why you've signed a lease with an entity that is not in fact the entity that runs the league itself. We pay East Citrus Soccer to be out there, not Citrus United Soccer Club. So in conclusion, we are asking you to hold off on signing this lease to find a better resolution for these children. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have the next speaker, please?
My name is Doug Bertels. My grandson plays for Citrus United. Back in 2020, my wife made a purchase of T-shirts, car magnets, and so forth, and she paid at the soccer field. 21, she ordered T-shirts and magnets, and was told to go to Southern Pride in Inverness to pay for the T-shirts and the magnets, which we did, and I have a copy of the receipt here. But it's true, we have ice cream vendors. I was told that people working the concession stands were being paid, and I volunteered to line the fields, and I was told that they pay somebody to come in and line the fields. That's work that should be done by the volunteers, the parents of the kids that are playing there. It's basically, again, that lease should be examined very closely.
Thank you. Can we have the next speaker, please?
Hello, Nina Richardson, Inverness, Florida. I am a concerned parent and sponsor of Citrus United, and I urge you not to sign the lease as well, as they have not managed the property well during tournaments this past year. The bathrooms were overrun, the garbage was overrun. My son had to use the woods because the bathroom was clogged up during a soccer game. So I just ask that you don't sign the lease and see if we can work out some other way for these children to play in a better organization, if you ask me. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have the next speaker, please?
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Okay.
My name is April Mead, and I live in Inverness. And I'm also a concerned parent and also volunteer coach. I actually grew up playing soccer. I played competitive through high school. I was a college soccer player. I played for Olympic development programs. I'm very familiar with soccer and how a field should look. Unfortunately, the fields at Holden Park are run down. There's half the time you can't see a line because it's not relined. Soccer goals are falling apart. I personally have put them back together, brought zip ties out, tried to connect them back together. For these kids, I think they deserve a better park. They deserve a clean bathroom. They deserve nice benches to sit on. Right now, it's cinder blocks with like a 2x4 on it, and if there's more than one kid on it, they fall over, it tips back. We've been to other parks in the area that do not have as many players as that are with Citrus United. They're with different programs, and their fields look a lot nicer. They have nice benches for the kids to sit on, and I know that they are not bringing in the amount of money that is being brought in for here because there's so many more players. There's limited grass. It's mostly dirt. There's holes in the ground. The kids are tripping in the holes, falling. There's always the mounds from the moles out there, and the kids have to go out there and jump on the mole holes, get everything down, or whatever. I don't know what animal it is, but there's always holes everywhere. So as a college soccer player, as a parent, and as somebody who wants to continue supporting soccer in Citrus County, I ask you to hold off on this lease and see if there's a different option out there. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next speaker, please.
Hello, my name's Caleb Mead. I was a U.S. Navy corpsman. Actually got out about 6 years ago, and I was medical support for SEAL Team 2 and SEAL Team 8. There's one thing I can't stand to see, and that's when there's like a dictatorship or a monopoly that's going on with something, especially on county property or state grounds. And the voices of the parents and the coaches, it's being completely bypassed. So we're trying to talk to this league, go over some issues that are going on, whether it's potholes, no good ryegrass on the field. Literally, I had to take my little girl to one of the bathrooms once, and there were female hygiene products just laying all over the ground that were used. I mean, it was absolutely disgusting. I'd like to go into this for like an hour and go into a whole bunch of scenarios and paint some better pictures. But what's happening on the county grounds is you have a group of people that for decades now, a long period of time, have been running a program, and it's really becoming a dictatorship where they're not even hosting the meetings, and when they do, they'll cancel them, and you don't get to express your opinion, or your voice doesn't matter at all. So I'm hoping you guys can really look into this, see what's going on in your county, and shut it down, and maybe get some other people to run the program or start a new one up. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. And thank you for your service. Next speaker, please.
Hi, Lisa Kears, Dunellen. My husband Ron spoke a few minutes ago, and he didn't tell you, but he served in the Marine Corps for 23 years, and we've lived all over the country. And I've had kids play soccer in other states, and we drive all the way from Dunellen to play in Citrus County because the amount of kids that play there, and because we love Citrus County, the community. So I'm a parent. I have 7 children. 6 of my kids have been involved with this soccer program as referees or players. I've coached for 3 out of the last 4 years, and I've also sponsored teams as well. So I care about the kids. I care about my kids, and I care about the kids I coach and the other kids out there. I care about soccer. I've played in college. I played all through high school. I played since I was 5 years old. I care about soccer. I care about Citrus County. The 23 years that I was by my husband's side as a Marine, we would come back here and visit, a few times a year because we love this community. And as soon as we could move back, we did. So my concerns today are the way that the league is being run. It's very disorganized, the way that it's run. For example, as a few people have talked about it, the Sunshine Cup and the Citrus Cup, the 2 end-of-the-year cups, and one of them we had teams from Brooksville and Hudson and other communities and counties come to our fields, and we were representing Citrus County soccer. And at that tournament, I coached U8, which my little 6-year-old played, with the 7 and 8-year-olds. And the fields, we had to set up cones because the fields weren't properly lined. And that was embarrassing because we had these other teams from other leagues, from other areas coming out, and we were saying, hey, this is Citrus County, and we don't even have the proper lines for our field for this huge tournament. There's been numerous times, in fact, every Saturday, my kids, my 6, 7, and 8-year-olds would sit on the bench and fall over. And it's a safety issue. I'm concerned about them. You know, some of the kids have special needs, and it's not acceptable to have a wood piece on cinder blocks that the kids fall off of when they're just sitting on. I've had to put, you know, my son's, who's 11, his goals, I've had to go out before games and help put up the Velcro so that the nets stay attached and help put the goals together. So it's very disorganized, and it's not representing Citrus County the Citrus County that I know and love, and the Citrus County that brought me back and would bring me back from all over the country to visit. Also, at that tournament, the bathrooms, I was there because my son was coaching and I had 4 children playing in the tournament. I was there pretty much at the first game and then at the last game on Saturday and Sunday. And so
I'm sorry, your time has expired.
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
just the fields, the bathrooms.
You need to.
Everything was a disaster.
Thank
So
you very much. Thank you and your husband for your service too. Appreciate it. Next speaker, please. You know, remind everybody, watch the timer. I would rather you stop than me have to stop you, so, yes.
Hello,
please.
my name's Ann Madonna. I live in Crystal River. I've been to all the meetings, the BOCC meetings, the Crystal River meetings, the Inverness meetings, and the Dunellen meetings. I pretty much see all the residents want the same thing, no bill, so I'm hoping that you will do that. The water issue, I moved here in 2018. When I purchased my home, I was told it was going to be an option that I'd be able to hook up to water. Well, no. I moved in and they forced me to hook up to water. Nobody seems, you know, running a county effectively or efficiently. It seems you call the city, they can't give you answers. You call the Land of Development, they can't give you answers. You call the Board of County Commissioners, they can't give you answers. So who is it that citizens go to get assistance when y'all force them to hook up to water? They destroy things, they disconnect a $3,000 unit, leave it in your backyard, and now you're dealing with water that your dog won't even drink. My dog will wait till I open the door and go get the water that I put out there in a bowl for my well before she'll take water that I filtered from the tap. Okay? The shower is disgusting. White film. The toilet, a black ring that won't come out. I didn't have these issues when I had my well water. So tell me, county commissioners, what are you doing to make the water safe here? What are you doing when residents call to say, why did you force me to hook up when you told me it was going to be a choice? Why did you tear up my property line? Why do I have crap water now? I mean, who is a liaison for the residents when you guys don't seem to care and you turn the other cheek when you hire subcontractors like Spectrum who knock out your power for 24 hours, leave you in the dark, send out a contractor, they refuse to give you an invoice. 4 years later, I'm still trying to get an invoice. Musello's office didn't do anything. Nobody wants to do anything. You let these contractors come in here and use substandard materials. What is wrong with you guys? This is your residents. We vote you in. We can vote you out. And why you have people sitting on boards that don't live in our county is beyond me. But that needs to change. Because obviously people like Ken Brown on Crystal River City Council, he's from Pinellas. He wants to turn us into Pinellas. We don't want to be Pinellas. We're Nature Coast. We want to stay Nature Coast. And I would have preferred to stay self-reliant on my land, but you forced me to hook up to crap water, and now you're talking sewer. I ain't doing that either. So you guys need to consider this. And don't bite the hand that feeds you. Wars and everything else, the citrus freeze, everything else, you know what citrus survived on? The fish and the aquatic life. You're going to get rid of it if you bring in all this crap. You know, so just really consider not biting the hand that feeds you. Take care of your residents. And take care of your children and your senior citizens in this county. They are struggling. And you guys don't seem to give a hoot about it. And it's really sad because this is a beautiful county. So I just hope you really consider that, and I hope you get a liaison board or something to help residents when we're dealing with these subcontractors like Duke and Spectrum, and they have no morals, they have no ethics, and they don't do what's right.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your comments. Can we have the next speaker, please?
Hi, I don't know if I can do this.
You just relax and
Okay.
don't pay any attention to the millions of people watching you on TV, as I tell them.
Thank you.
Just stay calm and relax.
It's like I feel like Ralph Cramden. I bribed the dust, you know? You don't remember that. You're probably
yeah.
too young.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so anyway, I'm Karen DeVries. I live in Dunellen. I'm also a volunteer over in the refuge in Crystal River. I've been doing that for a number of years. So I want to speak for the wildlife. I interact with people from all over every Friday morning when I'm out there in a kayak. I'm a manatee watcher. I have been part of a manatee rescue. I get goosebumps thinking about it. I care about the quality of the water in Crystal River that the manatees are in. I've heard, from people who are my co-volunteers that the water was much clearer years and years ago. I've seen in the time that I'm there, sometimes, it's really not so good. Anyway, not just the manatees, but I know gopher tortoises were protected, and then they're not. They're keystone species. They're important until they're not. But I really care about the manatees, and I know that our numbers in citrus are up, and other parts of the state, they're not. I mean, we had a record number of 1,300 manatees inhabit the Citrus County area this year, and I heard that the locals are also up, the numbers of them are up. But over on the other coast where there may be too much development, their numbers, they're dying of starvation over there. And I know that, economically, we have a strong, business sense from the manatees. So on the behalf of the manatees, I implore you to not pass any turnpike. Thank you.
Thank you, and you did very well. Thank you for being here. Next speaker, please.
Hello. She kind of broke the ice for me. My name's Kayla Carroll. I am also here as a concerned parent, as well as I am a volunteer referee for the Citrus County or Citrus United League. I am one that I have grown up here. Oh, excuse me, sorry. I grew up here. I played in this league since I was 6. And, sorry, oh my gosh. It's not the same as it used to be. It's not a personal thing. As someone that's played, I played when I was younger, played in high school, played in college, then moving on to now having my children and wanting to continue that with them. The conditions of the field are horrible. The management is not very well at all. And again, it's not a personal thing. It's one that I would love to continue to have that legacy and to share those same memories and be able to experience that same kind of memory as a parent as I did as a child, but with my children. And it's become very difficult to do so under this management with this lease. So I definitely urge you to please consider this lease before and really think about the next generation of kids that we're bringing in here, as well as, we're always, as much as we don't want to grow with all these other no-build things, we do also want to support families that are here. And it's not just about the older generation and everything else, but the younger generation that's coming through. And if we want to keep younger families with this economy and everything else in Citrus County, we need to do better. And in my personal opinion, I feel as though the management of this lease and the management of these fields and everything needs to improve. Because as I've been here, as I said, I've grown up here in Citrus County all my life. Inverness Primary, Inverness Middle, Citrus High School, alumni, doing the whole entire thing, playing for East Citrus back in the day, playing Citrus United, doing all the competitive leagues as well. It's just something that definitely needs improvement. And it's something that I would love to be able to invite people that are coming down here or moving here, young families that are wanting to have a better life for their families, and that's why they're moving down here, to have better opportunity, to give them a better opportunity and to allow them to play a public sport and it be quality for the fields and for the management of the lease. So I would just urge you to please consider that lease before and really put time and thought into it. And about the future of the younger generation of the kids that are coming here to play, and what would you want your kids playing on those fields, or your grandkids playing on those fields? Would you want them using that bathroom or that toilet at the concession stand, and the concession stand, and the how?
Your time has
the
expired.
things.
I'm sorry.
All right, thank you guys very much. I
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much. Appreciate you being here. Next speaker, please. Is there another speaker?
Hi, I'm Jasmine Levenguth, 1405 Southeast 8th Street, Wilson, Florida, and I'm representing rural Florida. I've been in front of you before. I have been in front of all four of the county commissioners, city managers, mayors, everybody, with the same message, because we don't want or need the turnpike. You people have a lot of power, and it's very important, and I'm begging you to please go with your revised resolution. Your last time suggested keep studying the other, but I'm begging you, please, just say no build, period. And being in front of, going to all these meetings, I've handed out thousands of flyers I've printed. I've heard over 1,000 people at these meetings, and they all say the same thing. They want to rural Florida. They want to save the nature coast. The turnpike is basically for sprawl development and develop what's left of what we have. And once you destroy it, it's gone. And so I really appreciate if you people think outside of, I know you protect your county and stuff, but think about Florida. Think about all of us, not just your neighborhood, all of it. It's very important, this decision that you people are going to make. And I hope that you truly stand up and represent your people and you know, not throw your neighbors under the bus, okay? You know, saying, well, keep looking at this. No, we need to just stop. This is not needed. It's not wanted. They don't have any proof for it other than the developers want it and certain politicians. And so please, you know, please do the right thing. I thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you being here. Could we have the next speaker, please?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Bishop Alexander. I won't think I'll need it. Josh Wooten, President and CEO of the Citrus County Chamber of Commerce, and we are here to talk about the Parkway. I know it's coming up, I think E15, but I have to get to the other side of the county, so I wanted to speak now. We're not hearing a big clamoring from the business community for this road, kind of like those of us that lived through the Suncoast Parkway. There was kind of an organized effort to do it. That's number one. We actually polled our members. It was a very lukewarm response to this. So we've been searching for solutions and trying to come up with a position, and we can't get to no build yet, but we're rapidly getting there, and here's why. None of the routes that are slated for Citrus County we think are compatible with our area. We don't think they'll pay the debt service on any bond that it takes to build it. And also, we've partnered with Marion County and Dunellen Chambers to try to come up with solutions. We don't like just coming to y'all with problems. We like solutions. And so we feel strongly that we shouldn't be picking another route in somebody else's county or community. But what we do know and what we've investigated, and Charles Lee, who I've known for 30 years, sent us down this track, is there's actually capacity on I-75 for at least a lane on each side, and y'all are familiar with the flyovers. So we would like for you to certainly add that into the equation, that they should be studying that. District 5, which is the district, FDOT district to our north, has already been studying that. And we think that you can encourage that. We know that there's about 38,000 cars coming over the Georgia line on I-75, but when you get to the metropolitan areas, you got 80,000 in Gainesville, probably 180,000 if there's a game. Ocala has...
Please hold right there. Would you stop this time? I've asked you all twice nicely. Whoever has that device making the noise, the next time it goes off, I'm going to ask a deputy to escort you out. Okay? So we're not playing games here. We care about what the people are saying that come to the podium. So please, third and final time, I'm asking you nicely, turn it off. I'm sorry, Mr. Wooten.
That's fine. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was annoying me as well. So you have these pockets of Gainesville, Ocala, and there's like 90,000 cars a day at Wildwood. So when you look at the global solution, we can certainly all agree that it's not really a Citrus County problem, but we are willing to keep an open mind. So we think that Charles Lee's, some of his proposals have great merit. I would encourage y'all to put I-75 on there. I'm a little uncomfortable with the no build because we don't know what happens in 20 years. But right now, we would say that none of the routes that they propose in any of the communities make any sense until they've done everything they can do to maximize I-75. And furthermore, I feel a little bit misled because we kept being told that that wasn't an option in various meetings over the years. And now we're finding out that there is some capacity there. So I trust y'all will make the right decision.
Thank you, Mr. Wooten. Appreciate you being here. Next speaker, please.
Hello, County Commissioners. We appreciate what you do for our citizens in our county. I'm Casey Kears. I've been in this county a long time. In fact, a real long time. I'm retired from the school system. I've been a coach and a teacher and athletic director and other functions in the county for many years. I've got 16 grandkids, and most all of them have gone to school here. And from what I'm hearing, in the past, when I was with the school board, we always had a good rapport with the city and the county commissioners on doing things for the good of the students and the kids. And I know how professionally you like to do things, and I'm just encouraging you right now, from what I've heard and what I've seen, because my kids and my grandkids grew up here, I think you need to hold off on signing this and get together and be sure that all of the bases are covered. And we're just, it appears to be it's not being run in a proper way from what I've heard and from what I see. I just request that you at this time, ever how you have to do it, maybe get some committees and teams together where we know we're doing the best for the kids. We're doing the best for the county. Soccer, there is a bunch of kids in soccer in this county. Back when I was coaching and so forth, we didn't even have soccer. But now there's hundreds of kids playing soccer. So I think it would behoove you, if you would, to really hold off on this. Be sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's, and be sure that we're doing it in the proper way, in a professional way, and we're not, and we're doing what's best for the families, for the kids, because these are volunteers too, by the way. All these soccer people, the coaches and the parents, they do a lot of work and a lot of volunteer, and they do that free. And so we need to get our money's worth for what they're doing, but mainly to support these children and their families. Soccer is a great game. Most of you probably have been, I know you probably had kids, or you yourself have been in sports, and you know the value that can come from sports, because it teaches kids to get some social skills. Soccer is important enough they get physically, they grow, and they learn to make decisions. And so soccer is, all of our sports are important, but soccer it's a great game. There's a lot of people in soccer. And with from what I've seen, I've had, I've got 16 grandkids, and most all of them have been in soccer. And I've got 7 this last year were in soccer.
Sir, your time's expired. I need to ask you to wrap up.
Thank you very much. And
thank you.
Ask you to hold off on it.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else to speak at this time? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Jim Tatum. I live at 112 West Minnehaha Street in Tampa. I speak for Our Santa Fe River, a nonprofit all-volunteer group from Fort White, and thank you for allowing me to address you today. Regarding the Northern Turnpike extension, Our Santa Fe River wants to extend our appreciation and congratulations for recommending these 2 alternative routes, both with no build as the principal guide. Of the two choices, we hope you will choose option B, which appears to be stronger. Thank you for helping to preserve our precious rural lands and water resources and for giving our future generations a voice.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Is there anyone else to wish to address the board at this time? Anyone else has not spoken under public input? This will be the third and final time during this section. Also keep in mind, anytime there's a motion or a second on the floor before a vote is taken, the board will also take public input. So if you stick around for these discussions, you have an opportunity. Board members, before I open it up to response, because the only thing I'm going to say is the parkway is on the agenda. We'll discuss that. That's my opinion. Also, the soccer contract's on the agenda. We'll discuss that, and the board can speak to whatever they want. I just did want to mention about Pastor Alexander and the Juneteenth holiday. My understanding is, and I'm wrong a lot, so I'm just going to throw it out there. My understanding is it is a recognized federal holiday, but our employees get to pick which holidays they wish off. So, and again, I'm just assuming that it goes into a policy manual about what is the recognized holidays. I thought once somebody told me, how did we get this holiday? And I was told, well, they picked this one instead of that one or whatever. I know we can say this is a holiday and we give them that day off, but I think somewhere along the line it comes down to how many holidays county employees have, and then they choose which they are. So I'm just throwing that out there because even if the commissioners decide wholeheartedly to do that, it's probably going to have to go through some kind of administrative process to look at. So that was my only comment. And by the way, I have no problem with it because I'll take any day off they give me, Pastor. So one final thing, I just want to thank you all for the way you conduct yourself when you come up here and do business. And I do appreciate the sound device being turned off, whoever had that. But I just got to share something with you. You think you'll appreciate this. My wonderful mother-in-law, or not, let me say, my mother-in-law is wonderful, but my daughter-in-law said, hey, I was talking to this guy the other day, and he said he was telling a friend he really liked that commissioner guy, Kitchen. And somebody said, well, which one's that? And he goes, oh, the grumpy one. So there you know. So that's the way I'm known, as the grumpy commissioner. So if I look like I'm not happy with what you're saying, that's just my reputation. You know. So with that said, commissioners, who wants to start? Commissioner Carhan, you want to start
I
down?
think I don't have a problem with the holiday at all. We'll get to the rest here lately. Unfortunately, it's a state statute. If the water runs in front of your house or sewer runs in front of your house, you got so much to, so many days to hook up. And at my house last night, I drank the well water. It was good too. So right here in Citrus County. So with that being said, I'll discuss the rest when it comes up.
Mr. Slabaugh, anything?
I think you covered it on the agenda for the no build. We'll talk about that, the soccer lease. Pastor Alexander, thank you, and thank you to your family for all that you do, and I'm okay with Juneteenth. And, but I'll need staff to let me know what we would, what the process would be, and if it's already there, and how many holidays the staff gets. The well water and the city water, you're with Crystal River City Water. I also have well and county water, and I have it so that I can get to my well water. That might be, I don't know if you do that, but I've heard your issue before, and I've looked at it, and you know, I'll look at it again for you. And Mr. Commissioner Chair Kitchen, I'm glad to hear somebody really likes you.
Yeah, one person, that was it. Anything else?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Davis.
Okay, well, we'll cover soccer and Turnpike when we get there. And Ms. Madonna, you weren't, there you are. You weren't entirely clear as to whether you live within Crystal River city limits or unincorporated county. You seem, shh. You're not allowed to respond back. Sorry. Be very clear on where your boundaries are and then talk to the appropriate people. So I know that when people get through to me, a lot of times I do have to refer them to staff, but they're always very happy after I refer them to staff. So you also were upset with Duke and Spectrum and all those folks, and we don't really have anything to do with that. So you know, there's only so many. I know we seem all powerful up here, but we're really not. And I hope you have seen Top Gun, because apparently you were the Tom Cruise of the board, because he says in there many, many times that this is the only face I got. So there you go.
Yeah, imagine my poor wife. Commissioner Kennard, you want to wrap us up on this?
Yes, sir, thank you. First and foremost, can we please get the buzzer fixed? I mean, this has been, what, two months now?
I'm gonna start doing
that
hand signals
This has
to
not
let
worked.
people
We
know
need to
to
buy a
look.
new one, or super glue it, electric tape, something. But it seems a little silly that we can't get that working. Second of all, a lot of parents came up and talked about the condition of the fields for the East Citrus Youth Soccer Program. That's the county's responsibility, is maintaining the fields. Is that not correct? And it doesn't sound like that's happening. So somebody needs to get out there and take a look at those fields. If they're not being maintained, that's not on the soccer organization. That's on the county, and we need to address that. I am going to, I guess, quickly divide the audience into those who are going to be happy with me and those who are not. I intend to fully support the resolution that is no build for all 4 routes and direct the Turnpike Authority to focus instead on I-75. I advocated for delaying taking a position until we could get more input last meeting, and Mr. Lee gave us all some information at the end, and trusting that his numbers are true. That was good information, it was valuable information, and I'm prepared to support that resolution, which is a no build for the 4 alternatives given. Now, the folks who are not going to be happy with me, right now we do not have a viable alternative to the East Citrus Youth Soccer Program or lease. We have addressed the issues, we've heard the issues with the bathrooms, the condition of the maintenance. I'm prepared to vote for us to sign that lease for this season. If we've got a viable alternative when we're faced with this next season, then I think we compare the two and we see how they did this year. That will go a long way to determining how I would vote next season.
Okay, thanks very much. Okay, so we wrapped that up. We're going to move into regular business, and again, when we get to these issues, you'll hear a discussion again about both those. If you're leaving, that's okay. We appreciate you being here, and we wish you to stick around, because now we're going to be talking about spending some of your money and stuff. So we're going to move to a 1:30 presentation we're going to do a public hearing on solid waste management fees, and then we're going to talk about utility rates and those kinds of things. So we'll be having that. So let's go ahead and go to item H1, the 1:30 public hearing. And
Excuse me.
yes, Madam Attorney, is this going to be an ordinance we're going to adopt, or?
No, sir, it's just a resolution, and Ken Cheek is here to
Okay.
introduce this.
So we're going to do the public hearing, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we're going to do, Mr. Cheek's going to tell us what this is about, then we're going to open it to the public hearing, and then we'll be looking for the board to move forward one way or the other on this resolution. Okay, thank you, Mr. Cheek. Glad you're here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members.
One second, Mr. Cheek. Again, those of you leaving, if you take your conversations outside, we would appreciate it. If you want to come back about 6 or 7, we'll still be here, and we'll be happy to listen to you then, so just, okay? So, yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. Ken Cheek, Acting Public Works Director. Before you today are changes to the solid waste assessment fees. Basically, these are fees that we're adjusting based on a 8% inflationary index. If you do the actual math, it's somewhere between 8 and 9% because they round them to the nearest dollar, but basically that's what we're looking at here. First, I'll tell you what we're not changing. We're not changing the solid waste MSBU fee, so that remains at $27. The commercial disposal fee remains at $1.25 per cubic yard. There are 2 items, if you look at the list of things that are in red, we're looking to implement those effective July 1. The reason for that, tires is one of the items. We're actually paying more than what we're collecting at the landfill for those. So we're looking to basically get to a break-even point with that. The other item is the C&D landfill construction debris. Basically, we're competing with the local private landfills right now. We don't want to do that for 2 reasons. One, we don't want to compete with them. Secondly, it's taking up airspace at the landfill that we need to use for residential debris. So we're looking to implement those with the July 1 date. The remainder would be October 1.
Okay, so, and again, hopefully the public's had a chance to look at the what the rates are and what the proposed rates were. I looked through them, and again, we knew about we were told before about the doubling of the construction debris, and the rest of them seem pretty much in line for the service that the folks get. So at this time, is it proper, Madam Attorney, to open the public hearing, then we'll take action?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to open a public hearing, and this will be your opportunity to speak in favor or opposed, or just give us your thoughts on the resolution we're going to adopt dealing with the fees. Is there anyone here to speak in support or opposition? Yes, sir.
Need me to tell my name and all that over again?
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right.
sir, we do.
Bill Harris, in case you drive Crystal River. Is this in regards to the fee of the household garbage refuse pickup, or is this just like pertaining to the fees just the dump?
Is that the only question you're going to have? I don't want to take up your time.
Well, I mean, that's the question I have. I need to know which one it is.
Well, okay, I'm talking on your time. I just wanted you to
Right,
be clear
yeah, I
about that.
understand.
No, it's nothing to do with pickup. This is for the operation of the landfill. You get charged $27 on your tax bill to operate the landfill.
Okay,
And
all right, well-
and these are the fees, like right now, you can take 5 30-pound bags to the landfill, you pay $4 and so on. So these are those types of fees, what you pay per ton on top of that. Has nothing to do with what your private hauler may charge you
Okay,
to collect.
thank you for the clarification. That's what I wanted to hear, and that was the main thing up here, because I was like confused to hear people say, oh, they're going to charge you $27 to pick your trash up. I'm like, well, but anyway, thank you very much for that, and thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the good question. Is there anyone else to speak in favor or opposed to this ordinance? Anyone else? Third and final time. Okay, we're going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, what's your pleasure with this resolution?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, so Commissioner Carnahan moves to approve the resolution, second by Commissioner Slaybaugh. Commissioners, is there any other discussion?
Nope.
Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. And that passes unanimously. We're now going to go, hey, look at that, we're only like almost an hour past schedule. We're going to go to the 131 public hearing on the solid waste residential assessment roll. Wanna
Yes,
keep
this
rolling?
is just your annual approval of the properties that will be assessed the solid waste MSBU fee.
Okay, and is there everyone knows who that is, correct? Okay. Okay, at this time, we will open up the public hearing to hear what you have to say, either in favor or opposed to adopting the roll for the assessment fee, what we have just passed. Is anyone to speak in favor or opposed? Anyone in favor or opposed? Third and final time. Okay, we're going to close that. Commissioners, what's your pleasure with
Move
this?
approval of H2.
Second.
Okay, so Commissioner Carnahan moves approval, second by Commissioner Slaybaugh. Commissioners, any other comments? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. And that passes unanimously. Now we're going to go to H3, which is the same thing. We're going to do a resolution dealing with utility rates and fees. Mr. Cheek, H3.
Yes, sir. Ken Cheek, Water Resources Director. I have a short presentation. I'll be glad to go through it. It's basically a review of what we did back in December. Mr. Chairman, at your discretion, if you would like to just jump to it, I'll tell you it's 5% on water, just what we presented earlier, and 3% on sewer over 4 years. So effective dates of October 22.
Could Mr. Cheek just give everybody, for the benefit of the public, the fact that we just don't sit down and dream up a number. These are studies that are done, how these rates are done. And also, we've had workshops on this. You might bring everybody's attention how this may not even keep up with the rate of inflation, but we're trying, so just the ballpark
Absolutely.
area there, if you would. Okay.
All right. So the recent history of the utility rates, the last real rate hearings that we had were December 15th through 2017. And as those of you that were here with me at that time, remember we were basically just standardizing the rates. There were no significant rate increases other than what we projected to be for the Public Service Commission water and wastewater rate that's published every year. Other than that, the rates have not really changed since 2011. And that's as long as I can really go back because that's as long as I've been in charge of it. So we've been basically holding with the PSC rate increases with the exception of when we standardize the rates.
And can you tell the public what that initial stands for?
PSC, Public Service Commission.
There we go. Okay, that's the state, right? That's kind of like their recommendatory.
Yeah, so for all private utilities that are regulated, the PSC does that, and the Public Service Commission regulates those utilities, and they establish on an annual basis an inflationary rate for all public water and wastewater systems.
Thanks, sir.
So the study task, as far as what goes into a rate study, just in big picture, you look at your gross revenues, you look at your gross revenue requirements, which would be your operating expenses, debt service, things of that nature, and basically compare the two and see if you got enough money to continue your operations. Capital improvements are a large part of that. It's a big part of what's driving our rates at this point. So this is just a quick graph to show where we were at with our existing rates. So the bars that are in there are all the different revenue requirements that we have, and the lines that go across there show where our rates would be. So I think this cursor works, right? Yeah. So the solid line is if we just continued with our existing rates. It does go uphill slightly. That's basically just growth within the system. The dotted line above that is if we implemented what we predict to be the PSC rate. I will tell you, the Public Service Commission rate this coming year, it typically is between about 1 and 3. That's what we've been seeing. This coming year, due to inflation, it's 4.53%. You figure we're at 5 on water and 3 on sewer. It's almost a wash in terms of revenue. I would tell you we probably would generate slightly more revenue if we took the PSC this year, but we're looking at a 4-year implementation of 5% and 3% per year. So we're confident that will cover what we need throughout our system, but if inflation keeps going the way it is, we may be back talking to you. Hopefully not. So the reasons for the rate increases, one of the big things that's driving us is the expansion of the system through assessment projects. And I'll show you a slide in a little while that shows kind of what was the trigger that got us started with this whole process. But in general terms, the assessments that we're doing for water lines up in Citrus Springs have been, the way we fund those things, when people finance their assessments, we still have to pay the bill up front, so we pay that out of our reserves. And so we're waiting 10 years to get that money back. And what that's done with the volume of projects we've been doing is our reserves have really been shrinking. And that's obviously a concern to us. That's basically the money that we use under any kind of emergency situation. The other thing, inflationary increases, of course, we're all in that boat. The study goals basically were to put us in a position where we can maintain our cash balance of operating fund of 90 days and to comply with our debt service covenants. So debt service covenant, basically you look at your net revenue for the year, it's basically gross revenue minus expenses, and you compare that to your annual debt payments. And pretty much any type of financing you do requires some sort of coverage. Ours ranges from 100% to 150%. So we got to make sure we maintain that. That's part of our deal when we get that funding. This just shows the proposed rate adjustments, again, effective October 1, 22, 23, 24, and 25, 5% on the water, 3% on the sewer. We're showing those public service indexes at the bottom of the page here. Like I said, if you extended that to 2023, I think I've heard 4.53%. So we're actually about 0.5% low on the water and about 1.5%, well, 0.5% higher on the water and 1.5% lower on the sewer. And actually our sewer revenues recently just increased and they're beyond our water revenues now. So we actually generate more revenue on the sewer side than we do water.
And Kenny, just one thing for the public too. We're aware of this, just to remind the public, this is for the ratepayers. So when we talk about utility rates, it's only for citizens in Citrus County that are on Citrus County utilities for
Correct.
water and sewer. And that's who pays. And we don't make money on this. We can't make money on it and use it to run the county. It has to stay in this fund, correct?
Correct.
Just so everybody's clear on that. Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, yes, just a second. Yes.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Could you give me the PSC rate again that you
The-
recommended?
The one that we have heard for this year that they published is 4.53%.
4.53%. Thank you, sir, and thank you, Chairman.
This shows an example, Bill. I will point out to all of you that the slide that is included in your package is different than this. This is the only one that's different. I changed it. Somehow we had a 5th year in here of changes. And I noticed that when I was going through the presentation. So we took that out. Other than that, this is pretty much the same now. So what this means to a utility customer, a typical utility customer, 10,000 gallons would actually be a little high for our customers. But what that means on a monthly basis, both water and sewer, if you're just a water customer, on the 4th year, your bill would go up about $5.84. If you're just a sewer customer, it would be $8.44, and the combined would be $14.78 on a monthly basis.
Okay. And that's the nutshell. I mean, so the average
Yeah.
person out there, that's what they're looking at.
Yeah, so looking at about $15 and the fourth year out. This, you know, we showed that graph earlier. This shows that now, if we adopt this, that the dotted line is the new rates, and we are, you know, above our expenses at that point, so that's where we need to be. This particular slide, I think, shows a lot because, you know, this is the slide that indicated to us that we had a problem. This basically shows where our reserves would be, and you see how they're going down, and that is because we're funding a lot of our capital projects with utility revenue. Whether it's a water plant expansion, it is any of these assessment projects. We had a number of sewer assessments, and I think you guys realize we saw this coming for a long way. So we went out and got an SRF to help cover the assessments on the sewer side, the Springs projects that we're doing. Now, Randy is looking with our new financial consultant to look at doing some sort of revolving loan to cover the assessments on the water side. We're still carrying the ones we already have in our reserves, but we're hoping to kind of blunt this a little bit. But we saw this coming a long time ago, so this is kind of the system working the way it's supposed to. We planned our CIP, we saw what our needs were, we got ahead of the game and did the rate study, and now we're just here with you guys to hopefully get that implemented so we're good to go in the future. Now, this will maintain our 120 days of reserves, which is where I think we need to be. That's sort of an industry standard. I've seen 180, 120 I think would kind of be on the low end, but with the amount of capital projects we have going through the system right now, I think that's reasonable.
Great.
Comparison of our rates to others. Now, this doesn't include those that are taking that PSC rate increase and everything else, but just based on the rates, when we put this slide together last November, you can see where we would rate. Our basically position within the rates of others around us doesn't change. I would guess, I know Crystal River's doing a rate study now, others are too. So this basically just compares us to their current rates or historic from last November. But our position doesn't change. Now, comparison to other utilities isn't always a clean thing to do because if you think about it, City of Crystal River, City of Inverness are very compact systems. Our systems spread out all over the county. So our operation and maintenance costs are higher because we're driving further. We're maintaining systems over a much wider area. A compact system is a lot easier in terms of efficiency to maintain. The other item that's for your consideration and part of the request today is to adjust our miscellaneous fees. These are fees for everything from meter installs to you know, premise visits and things like that. We looked at what it actually costs us to do those and adjusted the rates accordingly. The one that I will point out to you that's probably the larger one and the bigger issue for us is the deposits for rental properties. We see a lot of write-offs because of that. So we're looking to adjust that deposit for renters so that we can recover those costs without writing them off. Usually when people move out, if they only have a $50 or $60 deposit, they know their bill's bigger than that and they move out and we never hear from them again. So the goal with this is to set the deposit to where we'll be able to recover those costs and hopefully find them and send them back a check rather than writing off the additional costs. So conclusions and recommendations again, on the water system, we're looking at 5% per year for fiscal years 23 through 26. Wastewater 3% for that same time period. I will tell you, we will keep a close eye on our rates to see where we're going. I look monthly at our finances to see where we're at, and we look at a big picture with OMB on an annual basis. So if there are any hiccups with this, we'll be back to talk to you, but as it stands now, we think this will get us through at least the next 4 years.
Very good. Okay, any questions for Mr. Cheek before we open public comment? Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Slabaugh.
I do like to hear you talk about the deposits because even though we're not in the business of making money, we should also not be losing taxpayer dollars, you know, by trying to supplement this or subsidize it. So I appreciate all you do. I'm not always so nice to you, but good job and thank you.
And you're right.
That I'm not nice to you?
Yeah. If we write those off, it's our other ratepayers that are basically eating that cost.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, we're going to open this to I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, all of my interactions with your frontline staff have been absolutely spot on. And that's without them knowing I'm a commissioner, theoretically.
Yeah.
But
Well, great.
I've heard really good things from other people who've interacted with your staff that's driving around in the white trucks, so.
Great, thank you.
Okay, this time we are going to open this for a public hearing to hear your thoughts on this resolution setting the rates and fees for public utilities. Is anyone here to speak in favor or opposed to this resolution? Please come up. Give us your name, address, and if you've already filled out a green card, you don't need to, but you need to tell us your name and address again.
My name is still Barbara Ossio, and I still live at 10258 North Gardner Way, Citrus Springs, Florida. I just have a solid waste management fees up. Adoption for solid waste residential assessment up. Now you're gonna vote for the utilities, Citrus County utility rates and fees up. Gas is up, food is up, everything is up, except for people's pay. Where's all this money the people are gonna get? Pockets are empty. Just please think about the people here. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone else to speak in favor or opposed to this resolution? Anyone else? Third and final time. Okay, I'm going to close public hearing. Before we take a motion, I just want to address that. Yeah, and everybody in Florida that have voted for the $15 minimum wage, I hope they take that into consideration, because as you see all these fees going up, everybody that has employees, including government, is going to be having to meet these requirements. And there's a cost of doing business. So by law, we have to operate these systems so that if your pipes break in the middle of the night, we can't say, oh, we're sorry, we don't have enough money to go out and fix it. We have to have money in reserves and a team prepared to go out and fix them. So that's the cost of doing business. And if things did not go up, but keep in mind, gas is up. If it was up to us, it wouldn't be. But these trucks that Mr. Cheek operates run on gas. They have to go out and fill up gas to go do it. So all the services that the citizens want and need are impacted by all the costs that all of us are sharing with. So believe me, we all know it, we all see it, but and again, we don't make money on this. I just want to remind you that we can only charge what it costs to operate it and have a reserve to function with, okay? So that's my comment there. So I need a motion if you wish to approve this resolution, and then we'll have more county commissioner discussion. Anybody want?
Motion to approve.
Okay. So
Page 3.
Okay, so I heard Commissioner Davis make the motion and second by Commissioner Kennard. Is there any further board discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to say that I'm very cognizant of what has been proposed to raise. I think that what needs to be understood is if we do not cover these and the county is at a loss, you as a taxpayer are carrying that burden for all the people that didn't pay their bill and left, the renters. So this is why we're putting this in place, so that the property owners don't have to carry that burden. And, you know, all of us are very conservative about what we propose for increases, but this one, it's not fair for the many to carry the burden for a few, so.
Okay. Any other commissioner discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner Davis.
I don't want to belabor the point, but I just want, wherever she went, Ms. Ossio, you're behind. We really do feel it. We feel it in our own personal budgets. And I had the comment in my head, which I didn't say earlier, was, and the hits keep rolling, you know? And every time I turn around, everything is more and more and more expensive. We are all feeling it. But I think Commissioner Kitchen said it very well, that we are required to do this. We have to not make money, but we have to support the systems. So it's just one of those necessary evils, unfortunately. But the $15 an hour is certainly driving a lot of this. So that's it.
Any other commissioner comments? Okay, so on the motion to adopt the resolution made by Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Kennard, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimously. Commissioners, what I would like to do If you don't object, is I think item E15 and we've completed the time certain. I'd like to move to item E15 and then E16, which seems to be what the majority of the folks are here today to talk about. And if we do that, we can go back and pick up with our regular business. Is there any objection to doing that?
No, sir.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to move forward. If you're following in the game plan, we're going to move forward with item E15, the resolution to adopt the no-build option for the proposed turnpike.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
That we adopt the strongest resolution of a no build of the 4 routes and that they look at the other alternatives. But
Second.
We need to support.
Okay, hold just a second.
We need to support our neighbors to the north and, and hold strong with them as a coalition. So I say we do a no build with 4 routes.
And with no build for, so for Clarence, that would be alternative B?
Yes.
Is that your understanding?
Correct.
Okay, so that's the motion.
Second.
Okay, now we'll have we have a second by Commissioner Davis. Now we'll have public comment. Does anybody else wish to comment? That, I mean, it's up to you, but we've heard what you had to say.
I'm gonna address that.
We're going to fight for that second.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
PJ Offhammer, unincorporated Citrus County. I've been kind of staying out of your faces and letting other citizens speak on this because you all pretty much know how I feel. But I just wanted to say thank you for doing this. You make Citrus County proud.
Thank you. Is anyone else to speak on this motion? Anyone else? Third and final time. Okay, I'm going to close public comment. Commissioners, further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner, I'm sorry, you missed. Well, I'm sorry, you need to sit down, you had your chance. Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Kennard.
Option B, I believe, is the one that's, the motion was made to approve. This is showing a no-build option for 3 of the proposed routes.
Yeah, we want the strongest.
Wait a minute. Commissioner, the attorney's shaking her head. In your mind, when we say option B, Madam Attorney, which one are we talking about? Okay, as I read it, I thought, as I read it, the last presentation I saw in my paper form, I believe said option B was no to all 4 routes, but keep looking at 75 and that. That's the way I read it, but. And what do you have, Commissioner
Mr.
Kennard?
Chair? And letter C in our agenda is a red line version that has there's a strike through of that. There's a strike through of corridor routes, and it would read a no build option for the proposed corridors, meaning all 4 of the corridors. And then further down, there's also some suggested change in the language there that adds in there Ross Prairie State Forest with Coochie State Forest. And I'm not even going to attempt the preserve name.
Mr. Chair.
But then there's a strike through of, as an alternative, north through North A and on page 2 of 3. So, and there's some additional language in there as well. That strike-through version that's C on our agenda appears to me to be the strongest no build for the 4 proposed corridors.
Well, for clarification, I have no item C on my agenda. So where do we go from here? I have item A and B, and yes, ma'am, please, give us some clarifications so we're all talking about the same thing.
Okay. A and B are the 2 alternate resolutions. Unfortunately, it looks like the documents were transposed. So the B option actually appears first in your agenda. They're not numbered at the top. So it's actually B, but it's the first resolution that you see, and the red line version is the correct one. But when we take away the red lines, it's the first resolution that you see.
So the motion on the floor is resolution B. Are we correct with that?
It's option B.
Option B.
The first resolution, which appears beginning at packet page 804.
Okay, Commissioner Kennard, are we, because she's saying.
I apologize that they
I
got
don't know if it's that.
transposed.
So what she's saying is the red line version that you're referring to is option B.
May I?
So,
When I'm looking online at our agenda here,
Right.
is it, option A is the red line version without all the red lines through it? Because option B only opposes 3 of the routes in the online agenda.
Perhaps it would be clearest if I read the title of the resolution.
Why don't we do that? And then everybody will know what, and then we'll make sure that Commissioner Carnahan, that's what his motion was about.
Mr.
Okay?
Chair?
Yes.
My motion was to accept the most strenuous resolution there was. And Commissioner Kennard's right on C, all that, and then it goes into looking at routes on 75 and things like that. So my motion is to take the most strenuous route, or strenuous resolution of the no build, period. And that's to get rid of the 4 routes. We need to, again, support our commissioners to the north, Marion County. So these 4 are off the table and they can look at alternative routes.
And I understood that? Is that what you understand?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm still confused. I have no C. When we keep hearing alternative C. Okay?
What-
You got a paper version.
I think I can explain.
I'm a county commissioner. I should have the same documents
Yes.
everybody else has.
No,
Yes.
I think
Funny, I
what
said that
Commissioner,
last week.
I think what Commissioner Kennard is referring to as C is item C under the agenda item E15. E15C is a red line version.
Yes.
Sir,
So on this,
you have page 810.
Right.
That might help.
No, he's got the paper
I have
copy.
810. I'm looking at page 802, which is the agenda memorandum for this item. And it says A, no build, B, no build, and it explains what they are. There is no C on the summary page.
Correct, on the summary page, there is no C.
Okay, so what we're saying, I want to make sure Commissioner Carnahan and Kennard seem to be saying we're talking about the no build for all 4 routes, continuing with the study of the 75 and so on. So in your mind, which one is that we're talking about?
It is the resolution that begins on page 804.
804.
And I think for clarity, because this is such an important issue, I should read the introductory paragraph and the 4 paragraphs, which are very short.
Please.
And I'm a
please do.
fast reader.
Okay, please do. And let's do this once so we're all in agreement and everybody knows what we're voting on, okay?
I'm on packet page 804. And it's a resolution of Citrus County, Florida, requesting the Honorable Governor Ron DeSantis and the Secretary of the Florida Department of Transportation to direct the department to adopt a no-build option for the proposed corridors that may be proposed to run through or near Citrus County as well as among other communities that would also be negatively impacted by the proposed routes, directing the clerk to provide a copy of the resolution to the governor, the Secretary of FDOT, the President of the Florida Senate, the Speaker of the Florida House of Representatives, Florida House and Florida Senate Representatives, the FDOT Project Manager, and Florida Turnpike Enterprise, and other agencies, organizations, and individuals as directed by the Board of County Commissioners in setting an effective date. And just so we're clear, therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Citrus County, Florida, that 1, in order to protect the county's environmental resources, habitat for plants and wildlife, rural lands, fishing industry, and quality of life and values of our citizens, the board hereby supports adoption and enactment of a no-build option for the Northern Turnpike extension be adopted and implemented. So that's the whole thing, none of it. The board hereby enthusiastically supports continued study of improvement or expansion of existing roadways, including all feasible improvements to Interstate 75, to facilitate the statutory purposes while protecting and enhancing the county's environmental resources, habitat for plants and wildlife, and our citizens' quality of life. The clerk be provided a copy of the resolution, and the resolution shall take effect immediately.
Okay, that seems very clear to me. Is
Very
that
clear.
what you were talking about?
Yes,
Very
sir.
The
clear
whole
to me.
kit and caboodle.
Okay, everybody's on the same page is what we're talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what the public understood the resolution to be. So, now, with that, further commission discussion. Commissioner, yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I had a nice discussion with Charles Lee from Audubon over the weekend, and I must say, and pardon the bad pun inbound, I don't care for people who are my way or the highway. Hope y'all laugh. That was a dad joke. I'm a mom, you know. But anyway, Charles Lee is such a wonderful representative of Audubon because we had a great conversation about how it is important to have economic development. It is important to plan way down the road, but he walked me through the whole Audubon perspective on the 4 routes, and I absolutely will heartily vote for no build on all 4. That leaves the door open if they ever come up with an actual rationale that this is actually needed and it won't hurt the environment. My ears are always open, but, you know, the way they presented it is definitely a no build for me on all 4.
Okay, Commissioner Kennard, any further discussion?
I'll just quickly say that certainly Mr. Lee and I'm sure, are at opposite ends of the political spectrum on a number of the issues, but he's always a gentleman to talk to and doesn't come to the podium yelling at us or you know, doesn't take to social media or all the rest of the stuff. He brings real solutions, and I was impressed with the information that he brought forward, and it swayed my opinion on this thing. He brought forth some information that I thought was very helpful in this discussion. So I was happy to vote. I'll be happy to vote for this.
Okay, Commissioner Slabaugh, any comments?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate this and Commissioner Kennard's stance and showing how he is willing to listen, and that shows a good commissioner, a strong commissioner, and a leader. And I'm thankful for it because, as you've known from the beginning, this was not my thing. Even though no build is my trigger word, I'm going to support this. You all know how much this means to me. Not to, we can't stop all the people coming in. We have to move them around. But this situation, the Turnpike, is not for Citrus County. And I really am impressed with every one of you, all 4 of you, that took the time and learned. And I mean, you knew this just as much as I did, but you weren't stubborn in your stance, so very good. I think today's a good day. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Commissioner Carnahan, you have the final word on this.
Listen, I've been a no bill from the get-go. When you travel around and you look at other solutions or other solutions that have been solved, and I mean Atlanta, we can go on down to bigger cities. It can be done right here. Just to build a road to nowhere. I was never for.
Okay.
I'm always going to stick by my colleagues to the north and that I sit on different boards with that they took a stance, and I think we stand with them.
Great. I'm going to give the clerk a little warning. Since this is a momentous vote, I'm going to call for a roll call so you can prepare for that. And I'll just say, for all the things we talked about, I mean, that we've been discussing this for a long time. Many things have been said, but I'll just summarize by saying that in all the things we looked at from the beginning with the Suncoast Parkway and the extension of it, there was always basically a sustained push for a need for it. The people could see what it was about, where it was going, what it was going to do, and I heard from the majority of the citizens over the last 20, 25 years they were in favor of it, okay? When this came up, a lot of people listened, a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of information out there conflicting, but in the end, I heard still, to this day, I've heard from nobody that was in favor of it. And I do appreciate Commissioner, all the commissioners' straightforwardness and candor on this, but in the end, really what was pointed out to me is it never appeared on the FDOT 5-year plan, it was never on the MPO plan, it was more the legislature said this is where we want this road to go. And so to me, I appreciate our legislators, they do excellent hard work, but that's what we're here for. And somebody made the comment earlier, and those on the MPO know this, that's the first stop. No federal dollars can be expended for anything that the MPO doesn't support. That's why we belong to an MPO, and that's why probably the first stop of this resolution will be at the MPO, so they know what our position is on this. And I assume that Hernando, to some degree, will support us, but we'll leave that up. Okay? Okay, so that's where we stand. And I just want you to know also, I'll talk about this a little later, which I think was interesting, but this will add to my Dr. No persona that I've been painted with lately, so I just want to put that out there, because sometimes it's good to say no, right? Okay. Madam Clerk, could you have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Carnahan?
Aye.
Commissioner Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennard?
Aye.
Commissioner Schleba?
Aye.
Commissioner Kitchen?
Aye. Thank you very much. Passes 5-0. So we will execute that resolution and get it forwarded on. Let us now move to item E16, which is the much-discussed soccer club contract. So, Who wants to touch this?
I'll touch it.
Okay, well, let me see, what is the item on the agenda, I believe, is requesting approve and authorize the chairman to execute the Youth Athletic Organization Agreement between Citrus County, Florida and Citrus United Soccer Club, Inc. And you see the rest of it, but that's what the recommended action is, so let's talk about that recommended action. Madam Clerk, anything we need to know about that? And Ms. Scott, anything we need to know about that? You
Madam
first.
Attorney.
Madam Clerk?
I'm sorry, Madam Attorney. I'm confused. And I'm still trying to figure out if it's Ms. Scott or not. I'm still working on that one or not. So, anyway, Madam Attorney.
Yes, that you're being asked to consider, this is the third of the soccer leases. You considered two of them at your last meeting, you adopted two of them, and now this is the third one. I have somewhat of a difficulty because throughout this meeting and in reviewing some of the backup materials we have, I believe that the name of the organization on the contract needs to be changed, and I can explain to you why I believe that. But the problem with that is that the insurance information that we have, the certificate of liability is in, that would also have to be changed. So, and the reason that I'm asking that this be done, although staff prepared this at our direction, my office's direction to use this name, and everyone ran around, and I apologize to everyone who had to run around to get this done this way. In reading the backup material, it was clearer to me that there was confusion, and many people told me the problems with the names, and I'm apologizing to all those people that I did not pay closer attention when this was drafted. But there are two corporations with similar names, and then there's a DBA, which further convolutes things. But there's only one tax ID number, and that's where I'm going to rest this advice to the board in changing the name. The tax ID number is what's going to control, and that's the entity that has the tax ID number that we need to be doing business with. I'm going to ask your indulgence that if you are going to consider entering into this lease, that you allow us to amend the name of the entity with whom we're going to do business and ensure that they have a certificate of insurance that goes along with that entity's name. That's the only way that I can support this. I've talked to counsel for the entity, and counsel agrees that the name should, well, actually, counsel said it wasn't as imperative to the corporation that the name be changed, but I'm going to ask, and I think counsel will agree to use the correct name. That's the entity that has the tax ID number. So with all that being said, this is the agreement. We added the language that you asked us to add at the last meeting, and this is here for your consideration. It has been signed by the lessee, but I am going to ask that if you adopt it, that we do get a new one signed in the correct name.
And what, just for the records now, the one that's in front of us here, what would be the name that would go in there? What I have in front of me says Citrus United Soccer Club, Inc., a not-for-profit organization, corporation. What would be the name that would go in there?
The name, if you look at your backup material, additional information, the letter from Grant and Dozier that came in, the reference line is East Citrus Soccer League, Inc., doing business as Citrus United Soccer League. That is the name that I would ask that it be changed to. And another reason I'm asking that too is you were provided tax returns and IRS information, and that's the name of the entity that these documents were filed for.
Okay, so we'll let the board discuss what they want to do. I just want everybody to be clear from the attorney's perspective who we're dealing with, okay?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir, Commissioner Carnahan.
I'm going to jump out there and say, hey, I'm not supporting this. It goes to show you right there that what they have been doing over the years, okay? They've been signing something, and if a liability would have happened, I'm not so sure this county's covered. So it just goes to show you what's been going on out there. When they answered the questions, they said they were selling the shirts. We've got receipts showing that that's not true either. So I do believe we have another option, and that option is simple. You don't sign the lease with them. You reach up, you pick up the phone, and there's 2 other entities that are running soccer leagues. And I'm almost certain one of them would pick this up for the year, so these kids would have a place to play. Commissioner Kennard, you made a great point about the field. That is our responsibility. And we must, as commissioners sitting up here, fields have to rest sometimes. You just can't stay on them and stay on them and stay on them. There's a period of time where we've got to get off of them, and we've got to let them heal themselves. So, I think, but again, after what our attorney just expressed to us, I think it's very well that we push this off. And as far as I'm concerned, I'll pick the phone up and make a couple phone calls and let somebody else pick it up and run with it. Because I feel that we've been duped for the last 4 or 5 years, and our attorney has just told us that.
So I could summarize your statement by saying you're not comfortable with the
Absolutely,
recommendation.
100%. I am not comfortable, especially after what our attorney just, we pay her to do a job. She's done her job. She's brought it back, and that's scary, actually.
Okay. Commissioner Slabaugh.
Mr. Chairman, with no disrespect, I did not hear the county attorney saying that we've been duped. So I just want to, I felt like the attorney felt comfortable with signing this contract, and then we come back and just make the correction of the name. And that's how I heard it, so I think that's the clarity I need. Thank you.
So you are comfortable with the contract or whatever, right?
I'm comfortable with what our county attorney says, and I have faith in her, and if she believes this is going to be fine with you signing this contract, I feel good about it.
But just for clarification, though, I don't think she's putting off whether we should sign it or not. She's just saying if we do sign it, this is who the name needs to be in, correct? Is that what you're saying?
That's what
Are you giving us direction to sign this? I don't think you are.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean she's
Right.
saying to sign. I'm
Right.
saying she feels, she has not advised you not to sign it. She feels comfortable with the way it is. The doing business will be,
Okay.
DBA will be corrected in the future for you to sign that
I
one
just
also.
want to be clear that the attorney does not give us policy advice. She's giving
No,
us legal advice.
and I know that. I would become a better, by my 4th year, I should be a better communicator.
All right, very good. Commissioner Davis, any comments on this?
I think her name was Mrs. Carroll, who got kind of emotional. This job makes me cry, too, especially when you have to hear things like this. Our job is the owner-operator of the field, so I don't like either option, to tell you the truth. I'm not comfortable with any of this. I agree with you, I agree with you, and I agree with you. So that's 2 different sides already, so I'm going to be the swing vote on this one. I don't know what to do, because I know that I have owned 2 companies at the same time recently. I've owned other companies. I am always so careful about my paperwork to make sure that everything is sewn up with insurance policies and LLCs and INCs and everything in my actual legal name when I do stuff. So for that to be that sloppy, I'm also very concerned that they have vendors there that are not being recognized. That's a big concern of mine. So I'm not comfortable being put in this position at all, to tell you the truth. But right now I'm leaning for not going forward with a contract right now.
Okay. Commissioner Kennard, any comments?
Well, I had jumped out there and said I was going to support signing this, and I'm still somewhat in that camp. But searching records online, both of these organizations are active nonprofits. So I'm wondering, I assume it was the county that put Citrus United Soccer Club, but it was at their direction to put that name on this lease. Is that right? Or was that our mistake in putting that on there?
As I sit here, I'm not sure which. I know my office told staff to put Citrus United Soccer Club, Inc. But I'm not sure if we did that because the certificate of insurance was listed that way. Because the certificate of insurance comes from the state organization. So when I can't say as I sit here which came first. I don't know whether we told them to put that name because that's the name we had used before. I can't answer that. I can tell you since we've sat down at this meeting, I have looked, I found both of them to be active. corporations. One of them has the DBA, and one of the speakers raised the issue of the difference between league and club, and that's the distinction between the names. I don't know why they both exist. I have no idea why. But when I looked for the FEI number, there's only one FEI number.
And then we've got another corporation that is selling the T-shirts. Is that what I understood there as well?
That's what you've heard that.
Well, while you keep pondering, because here's what we're going to do.
This is a mess.
Well, Mr. Grumpy's going to talk, okay? And here's what I got to say. And just understand the way I'm saying this. I have children, I have pets, I'm not without heart, but we are obligated to follow the law. We are obligated to be responsible stewards of the taxpayers' property and dollars. If we were sitting up here having this discussion about anything that didn't involve kids and youth sports, we wouldn't be having this discussion. We would tell staff, because what we are is we are leasing county-owned property to somebody. And in return for that, we're saying, this is what we'll do, this is what you'll do, okay? And it may sound heartless. I don't care if it's a dictatorship, okay? I don't care if the parents feel it's a dictatorship and somebody has run off with their organization. They are more than capable of taking their organization back or starting another one. What I'm concerned with is who are we leasing? Do we know who we're leasing the county's property to? And are they doing everything they're supposed to? Do they have the proper insurance? Do they have, and then I hear all these other things come into it. And again, I'm not without feeling, but I'm trying to look at it very pragmatically. If the county attorney said, I want you to watch after my property and only lease it to people that you trust that follow all these rules, I would be very careful about doing that. And I don't think we're doing that. I think it's been pointed out to us that we've just kind of said, soccer's good, kids are good, the parents are all good, everybody's doing a good job, and something has happened over a year, perhaps like the library board, where we're paying attention, things, have started happening. So in my mind, ladies and gentlemen, I don't see the rush. Let's fix it. Let's fix it once. Let's find out who wants to lease it. Let's find out who steps up and says, we'll do this, and lives up to their contract. And I just can't see the need to be in a rush to go through and do this today with all the uncertainties. I'm sorry. And I hope it doesn't keep anybody from playing soccer. I heard one person say the kids have until August. And again, that's fine. Don't take this the wrong way, but that's really not our concern. I mean, if the organizations can't get their act together to lease the property and manage their organizations, that's not the Board of County Commissioners' concern. What should come to us, the staff and the attorney should say, here's who we're dealing with, here's what the terms are, do you want to sign it or not? That's what should come to us, okay? So, there you go. Mr. Grumpy has spoken. Now you've had a chance to think about what you wanted to say.
Mr. Chairman.
Just let me let Jeff.
Fair enough, I agree.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I agree completely. This is not an emotional decision. This is about a lease, and I think if we just take a breath, I don't want to hinder the children from playing either, but our responsibility is the lease, and the whole infighting or whatever the problems are, that's up to the parents and the board to figure it out. We're just about this lease and making sure the field is in proper order, and I think we need a breath. Take a breath, table it. I agree with you.
Let me go back to Commissioner Carnahan, since he was the one that brought it up. So what do you think we should do, Commissioner?
Mr. Chair, I think you know it. Listen, what I would like to do is direct our attorney to go back and investigate how long this has been going on this way. Because it's going to show this has been going on a long time. So I'm telling you now, this is not good. We are putting ourselves in a situation, and probably rightfully so. And then last but not least, that I want to bring up, how many organizations have gone and hired an attorney to represent them on sign a contract? Okay? I mean, I don't understand that, because I've been here 8 years and I've never seen an attorney represent Little League, youth football, or any other league that we sign. Okay? But Now we're doing that, and now it's been brought to our attention, and there's 3 or 4 different companies, and they're, so I would actually like to go back and look at how far this goes back, because I think we're going to see, this just didn't start last year. It started a long time ago.
So I think, speaking for the board, if I may try to summarize, there is no consensus here to move forward with the contract presented for us today. Would everybody agree with that? Okay, so perhaps those that remain interested in entering into a contract with the county should resubmit that application, whatever that group should be, and should go through whatever our regular requirements are to lease county property. And when that's all worked out, that should come back to the board. That's what my thinking is. I mean, I'm not saying I like this group or that group or whatever, but I'm just saying, let's treat soccer fields like we treat Little League baseball fields, everything, let's just, it should be out there. That's my thought. Yes, ma'am.
We are the, you said it very well, we are the representatives of the landlord entity of the taxpayers of Citrus County. So we are the landlords for these fields. What I would think would be the path forward is a lot of very passionate parents spoke today. I would say that you either stage a recall election on your board of directors for Citrus United and get your stuff straight and come back underneath that name, but you better have your ducks in a row. Or you go out to another league and get them to apply to rent this field instead. Go just wholesale, go join another league. Those are your 2 options. This is not our business. You guys have got to figure it out. So.
And seeing that there's no motion on the floor, yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just feel like I really do want to apologize to anyone who I may have talked to, because I did talk to a lot of people, and I will tell you, it wasn't crystal clear to me until I sat here and read this backup material. So I just want to, for everybody out there that thinks that I might have said, I apologize, I really do. But I did look at all of this online as I was sitting here, and that's why I gave you the advice I did. And the only other thing I want to address is the investigation issue. One of the problems that we have in trying to address this issue is we have no existing contract. So it's hard to investigate because we don't have anything now. If we would have known about this back when the lease was in force, maybe we could have done some more things to investigate from a staff level. So hopefully you guys understand that.
And let's learn from that. And 1 second, please. I just want to say kudos for you, because a person that wasn't a veteran, no, really, how many people would just sit there and not say anything, or not my fault, and hope it doesn't get covered up and it'll go away? So kudos for you for standing up and say, I made a mistake here, and rather than letting it go down to the next gyration of this and catching it, then I'm glad when you saw something you brought it to our attention. So, yes, Commissioner
Commissioner Kitchen, I agree with that, and all I'm saying is this: surely we archive contracts that have been. All right, so what I would say is go back and pull the contracts for the last 4 or 5 years and look at how they've been done, and I'm almost going to guarantee that they've been done the same way. So unfortunately, we've been duped.
Okay, so are we all clear? No action the board wishes to take at this point. I mean, I don't see any. There's no motion on the table. We're not moving forward with the contract that's in front of us. Are we clear on all that, everybody over there? Okay, commissioners, are we clear in our direction?
We're clear.
No dissenting opinion? Okay, so now we're going to go back to item E1. A. There's no motion, no second. So you can stay for public comment at the end and speak then if you wish. So.
I love you guys, but
I'll
send it to you in writing.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Yes.
Move that we take E1A through M.
Second.
Okay, so Commissioner Carnahan makes the motion, second by Commissioner Kennard, to take all bids E1A through M in their entirety. Is there any public comment on that? Is there any board discussion on that? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay, and that passes unanimously. We're going into item E2, so.
I just want to
Yes.
make one note.
Yes, ma'am. Is your microphone on? I want to make sure we can all hear you. Okay.
Yeah, it can.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on. You talked about holidays earlier.
Yes.
For our employees that work 10-hour, 4-day work weeks, they get 8 vacation days and a floating holiday.
Okay.
So you are correct there.
Okay, and what about when it comes to picking, I swear I asked once, how did we end up with this for a holiday and not that for a holiday? And I thought somebody said it's somewhere along the line, the employees get to pick of that number, how many, what they are. I mean,
So for regular employees, they have 11 holidays and they don't opt which ones.
we tell them what those holidays
Yes.
are. Okay.
Yeah, and then for the 10-hour or 4-day work week, they can opt for one. And then the other 8 are, we tell them.
So for purposes going forward, if the board wishes to come back and follow up by adding that as an additional holiday, their choices would be to give the employees one additional holiday or tell them if they want that one, they have to drop another. Or we will tell them, we're giving you this and you're not getting that, right? That's what you're going to say. Okay, yes, Commissioner Davis, oh, I'm sorry, yes, go ahead.
The only other thing I would say is there may be some union contract implications that we have to honor also.
Well, that's what I was saying, if you would look into that, because I had a feeling from what I heard from the board, they might have an interest in, recognizing that holiday. Just so let us know what the implications are. Commissioner Davis.
No, I think it's answered.
Okay, yes, sir.
No, I agree with that, but to me, this is an HR issue. I mean, that's why we have an HR department, and I think that, hey, the commissioners recognize this, but let the HR handle and do their job when it comes to holidays.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, very good. So, you want to do this the way Mr. Oliver usually does, and you're going to tell us what these are? Okay, so with that said, what do you want me to call you, Miss Scott? Okay. Ms. Scott, item E2, please.
Budget transfers, approved budget transfers for solid waste, human resources, housing services, visitors convention bureau, GIS, public works, aviation, utilities, Citrus Springs MSBU, emergency medical services, fire rescue for fiscal year 21-22.
Move approval of E2.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Davis makes the motion, second by Commissioner Kennard. Is there any public comment on item E2? Further commissioner discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimous. E3, please.
Budget resolution, adopt and authorize the chairman to execute a resolution adopting, amending State Housing Initiative Partnership, Inverness Airport Rescue Program grant budgets, road maintenance budget, and emergency home energy assistance for the elderly grant budget for fiscal year 21-22.
Move approval of E3.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Davis makes the motion, second by Commissioner Kennard. Is there any public comment? Item E3. Okay, Commissioners, anything else? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. And that is unanimous. E4, please.
E4, additional staff to Employee Wellness Center. Approve and authorize the chairman to authorize the additional 24 hours of additional staff at the Employee Wellness Center, which includes 1 additional medical doctor, mid-level ARNP, NP, nurse, medical assistant, radiology tech, and 40 hours for 1 additional staff for a patient service coordinator, front desk receptionist.
Okay, Commissioners?
Move approval of E4.
Second.
Commissioner Davis makes the motion, second by Commissioner Kennard. Yes, Commissioner.
And where does this money come from to pay for these?
That would come from the self-insurance fund.
Self-insurance, okay, just want to make sure, okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any public comment on item E4? Further board discussion? This is a related item, just so we're clear. I mentioned it to you earlier, but it might be good to let everybody know. I think everybody got a memo saying that because of change in the health plan, okay, and we are self-insured, that people have to go themselves to that link to do their, during the open enrollment period. And my understanding is now in the past, you could only get to HR through a county computer system, but in the future, you will be able to get that through your own home computer. Is that correct?
Right, and it's through Bentech, it's a new.
And they'll
yeah.
send out information on how to do that.
It will come through HR. Yes.
Okay, great. So just everybody's clear on that. Thank you very much. So on the motion by Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Kennard, item E4, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. And that is unanimous. E5, please.
E5, revise Administrative Regulation 11.16, policy and procedures establishing lease management for leases. And approve and adopt Administrative Regulation AR 1116-1, policy and procedures establishing lease management for leased properties.
Commissioners.
Move approval of E5.
Second.
So, motion by Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Kennard. Is there any public comment? Any further board discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oop, yes,
I'm
go
so
ahead. Go ahead,
sorry.
Commissioner Slabaugh. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, we had, I read this and now I can't find it, but we had, at one point, if my memory serves me, that we talked about the nonprofits showing their end-of-the-year tax reports to see, you know, what they can and can, is that, I thought I read something, but now I can't find it.
Yes, it's on packet page 642.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You found 642?
Yes, and it's paragraph,
B.
B.
oh, yes, right in front of me, it would have bit me. Yes, I just wanted to make sure, thank you, sir.
And also, it you know, the lease has to show actual out-of-pocket costs, and the county can't lose money.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Where's Miss
Yay.
Watson?
Okay, any other
I know,
commissioner?
right?
Okay, any other commissioner discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Thank you.
And that's unanimous. E6, please.
E6, waste disposal account agreement for Dinky Doe disposal.
I was waiting to see if you could hold it together.
Approve and authorize the chairman to execute a waste disposal account agreement between Citrus County and Dinky Doe Disposal, establishing a monthly charge agreement at the Citrus County Central Landfill in the amount of $1,000.
Mr. Chairman, I
Yes.
move to accept E5.
Okay. Is there a
I'm sorry,
Six.
E6.
Is there a second? Okay, so Commissioner Slabaugh makes the motion, second by Commissioner Davis. And is there any comment on E6 from the public? Commissioners, anything else?
No, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And that passes unanimously. E7, please.
E7, cross-connection control program manual updates. A, approve revisions to the backflow prevention and cross-connection control program manual. B, adopt and execute the resolution requesting the update backflow prevention and cross-connection control program manual.
Yeah, this was a very interesting read here. Commissioners, what's your pleasure with this?
Move approval of E7, A and B.
Okay, we have a
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kennard. Is there any public comment? Any further board discussion? Yes,
I
yes.
have comment.
Yes.
Since I'm on a roll today, I'm just going to go ahead and apologize to staff that this took forever to get before the board.
No problem. Well, and again, I think it's fine, and I'm sure the board has read it, so hopefully the public will too. But when you get into one of these things about how to get people to comply or whatever, it's, you know, but you're kind of like.
It's dry.
Huh?
It's dry.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so with that said, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay, and that passes unanimously. I do understand you're having to get a little help down there, though, so, yeah, okay.
I am. July 1st, we have another attorney starting with our office.
Very good. E8, please.
Can never have too many of them.
Says the man who loves lawyers.
Yeah, he approved
Jeff
your
made it
budget, though,
funny.
so hopefully it'll help that, so. Yes, I'm sorry, ma'am. E8,
Shh,
please.
don't tell Kim.
Okay, Boston Street Water Main. Approve and authorize the clerk to place acceptance stamp on release of lien, bill of sale, warranty of materials or workmanship, and engineer certification of construction completion of the 6-inch water main on Boston Street and record in the public records of Citrus County, Florida.
Move approval of E8.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Davis makes motion, second by Commissioner Kennard. Any public comment? For the board discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay, and that is unanimous. E9, please.
E9, Citrus Springs Unit 2, Phase 1 project closeout. Approve and authorize the clerk to place acceptance stamp on release of lien, bill of sale, warranty of materials or workmanship, and engineer certification of construction completion of all water and sewer main lines and associated parts in Citrus Springs Unit 2, Phase 1, and record in the public records of Citrus County, Florida.
Commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept E9.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Slabaugh makes motion, second by Commissioner Davis. Any public comment? Further board discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That's unanimous. E10, please.
E10, Visitors Bureau Advertising Policy. Approve the Visitors and Convention Bureau Advertising Policy.
Chair, move approval of E10.
Okay, Commissioner Davis makes a motion.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kennard. Public comment? Board discussion?
My agenda's wrong. I'm trying to, I
Yeah,
might need,
E10. Did you get an old agenda?
I've got two and I'm going back and forth, but.
I know, yep. There was they started changing on some of these agendas, and I'm sure this will never happen again, but I also had a little bit of, Doug, what's going on? So anyway, E10 is the Visitors Bureau advertising policy.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on that?
No,
Okay,
sir.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say
Aye.
nay. That passes unanimously. Now, E11 is the 9/11 grant agreement, okay? And again, we're looking for, I'll help you out here.
Motion to approve item E11.
Okay, Commissioner
Second.
Kennard makes the motion to approve, second by Commissioner Davis. And it's just to approve and authorize the chairman to execute the E99 state grant agreement. Any further, any public comment? Any further board discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
My E11 has A, B, and C, but
Yeah, I think you're looking at.
Yeah, you're supposed to,
okay,
I had that problem.
yeah.
okay.
Online is A and B.
Yeah, this is,
I threw
today
it-
is not our finest day for agendas, so hopefully we'll get this problem. Yeah, we'll get this corrected in the future.
Usually
Chair.
paper
Yes.
version's right.
Just to make a public clarification on this, there was actually a time a few meetings ago where Minute Track lost its mind, and it's lost its mind this time as well, and it's really causing a lot of
Yeah, just-
kerfluffle among us trying to figure out where we are on the letters.
Yeah, as long as everybody's got the same plans, that's all that matters, I don't care what the order, as long as everybody's got the same one. So, E11, we've gave public comment a chance, there was none. Any further commissioner discussion other than that? And so, all in favor say aye.
Well, there's ABC, sorry.
There is ABC.
Yeah.
Okay, so
There
we're
is
looking at,
ABC, E11.
I just
I think that was
info.
late, this was late.
Oh, my God.
okay, all right, so
Yep,
let's,
it's here.
Fold it up.
okay, well, could you read it, since I have no clue what A, B, and C is? So could somebody please read A, B, and C?
A, approve and authorize the chairman to execute the E911 state grant agreement for an upgrade to the sheriff's office 911 system. B, approve and authorize the chairman to execute the Motorola agreement between Citrus County, Florida, and Motorola Solutions. C, approve and authorize the chairman to execute the business associates agreement between Citrus County, Florida, and Motorola Solutions, Inc. One staff has received and has been approved by the county attorney's office.
Okay, that's A, B, and C. You good with that? Okay, from now on, I'm not, if it's not in my book, and if it's not in my agenda, as long as I'm the chairman, we're not voting on it, okay? So just so, because this isn't right that we all have different things up here in front of us. So, we all have that. So the motion now is, if Commissioner, let me back up
Yes,
here.
sir.
Commissioner Kennard and Commissioner Davis is good with E11, A, B, and C.
Yes, sir.
You're good with that, okay. Any other discussion on that? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. I'm gonna hold my breath and say, boy. Okay, now we're going to E12, which should say Visitors Bureau Website Advertising Program.
I hope so.
Okay,
E12 Visitors Bureau Website Advertising Program, approve the agreement with Destination Signals LLC, a member of Tempest, and authorize the chairman to execute the agreement.
Move approval of E12.
okay. Commissioner Davis makes that motion, and Commissioner Kennard seconds it. Okay, is there any public comment on that? Any further board discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I would want to put a point of clarification on there because it looks a little weird that it's put in there that it's revenue sharing, but it shows nothing coming back to the county. The revenue sharing is actually that's going back to the advertisers who belong to the Economic Development Council. So anybody or advertisers, period, it's going to feed back into making it less expensive for our businesses who are operating in Citrus County, who are tourism businesses, to advertise on the site.
So the revenue sharing is with the advertisers, not with the county?
Exactly.
Okay, great.
Thanks for stating that better. It's been a long day.
Okay, and we're not done yet. We got a long way to go. Okay, so with that said, any other board discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. and that passes unanimously. And E13, please.
E13, Restore Act, operational self-assessment. This is required every year. Approve the Treasury Office of Gulf Coast Restoration Restore Act eligible entity operational self-assessment, also known as OSA, and authorize submittal of the OSA information to the Treasury via their online portal.
Move approve E13.
Second.
I thought you might. Okay, and second made by Commissioner Carnahan, second by Commissioner Kennard. Is there any public comment on E13? Any further board discussion? Yes, ma'am. Is that a yes, no?
My agenda is so messed up, I can't even follow. We're on the Restore Act, right?
Yes.
E13, yep.
E13, Restore Act.
Okay, because okay, fine.
No
I'm
questions
good.
on E13?
Here's what I can tell you. This is good to vote for. Our projects are moving forward. All our projects are in. So when I'm done with my term, whoever steps in, all they got to do is sit and coast.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Any
you.
other board discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimously. Now we're going to go to E14, which will be the last one under the E's, and that is Core Civic Contract Monitoring.
Concur with recommended action of a non-performance assessment of $77,500 against Core Civic's May invoice.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Scott, our implement, what do we just take it off what they're,
Yeah, we deduct it from.
we just
the-
deducted, okay. I just want to make sure that was, and I figured that was happening, but, okay.
And also, I really appreciate Mr. Oliver's letter saying that it's not a matter of money. You know, this is not a satisfactory way to continue just to say, we'll be understaffed and we'll just keep penalizing you. That's not what this is about. They need to get up to where the contract says they need to be. Right?
And that was going to be another question is, at what point is this board going to have to step up and are we just going to keep finding them, or are we going to say, hey, look, we're not, you're not stepping up, doing the right thing. The last thing we want to do is take it over because of the expense of it, but we still have to hold their feet, to the fire to make sure that we're not putting a position out there.
Yep, I agree. Like you said, it's not just like, well, we'll just keep deducting it. That's not I think he said, as we discussed, we are not looking for a resolution where quote is compliant with, we do not believe assessing partial performance fees is an acceptable solution, and I agree with that,
Yeah.
so. Okay, so is to concur with the recommendation of the assessment, so that's the motion. Does somebody like to make it?
So move on E14.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Carnahan and second by Commissioner Slaybaugh. Is there any public comment? Any further board discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimously. We are now up to County Administrator. I see nothing listed there, so Ms. Scott, nothing for us?
Well, outstanding commission items.
Did we get to, I just skipped that? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, it's on the back. Here's another thing, whoever puts my agenda together, I can't stand front and back printing.
Me
okay?
either.
It's gotta be all in front, so that's another thing, so
Man,
while
we
we're,
got-
while we're getting on it today, okay? Huh? Well, you've never done this before, I don't know why that happened, so. Not for me, you haven't, buddy, always, anyway,
Anyway.
so, let's go back to F.
What
My
he
fault,
said.
I was blame shifting, so anyway.
Remember when we were talking about the budget?
yes.
I mean, talking about the agenda?
Yes,
I want to say the word Chardonnay. That was my help word.
right, okay.
Okay,
funny.
outstanding. We have two completed items. Item 6, establish process and criteria for renting to nonprofits. And 9, benchmark other counties and cities in Florida regarding affordable housing.
So we've done, and those are the two.
Move
we're
that we approve item F with the deletion of 6 and 9.
Second.
Okay, so I heard, let's see, Commissioner Carnahan on the motion and Commissioner Davis on the second. Okay, any public comment? Any board discussion?
No.
Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. And that passes unanimously. Now, are we ready for item G, and you have nothing under G?
Nothing.
Okay, we finished all the H. We have no advisory board nominations today, so we'll go to committee reports from commissioners. Commissioner Kennard, you got anything for us?
Nothing committee reports, no.
Okay, Commissioner Davis?
Yes, we had 4 CF last year, and We just got one of the issues that was brought up when I was put on the board is that they've had continual, you'll love this, Ms. Scott, audit findings. And it's been a sea of audit findings, and I believe, and I was just trying to find it online to refresh to make sure, confirm my memory, but I believe we're down to 3.
Well, that's
And the board, and we're whittling them down. It's been kind of a mess, but we're whittling them down, and none of them were malfeasance or anything serious. It was just procedural stuff that the board agreed with everything, so very happy to report that. I mean, that's down from like over a dozen, if memory serves. It's a lot, so, good news.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, Commissioner Slabaugh?
No, sir, nothing.
Any committee reports, Commissioner Carnahan?
I had a budget meeting on Gulf Coast Consortium, and then also our executive board meeting, just going over the material for the board meeting at FAC. But so the projects are moving forward. I'm hounding them pretty hard on trying to get Gulf Coast Council to approve and get them kicked back to us. So we'll keep pushing on for that.
Okay, and see how well this worked out. Now we're going to go right back to you and say, do you have anything further to discuss under your items?
Me?
Yes,
I do.
You do. You have K1. Mhm.
I know you. I don't know if everybody's got phone calls, but you know, we during our workshop on airports, you know, we did mention something about the right-of-way signs, guys. What's interesting is the right-of-way, the no parking signs are just past the racetrack, and then from there on, there's no more. Okay. There's nobody blocking that out there, okay? So I do think once it starts to develop, but I think that we need to get those pulled out of there. It's just causing a mess when it comes to the racetrack. There's nobody, I travel that on Saturdays and Sundays just to see, there's no trucks parking out there on the side of the road. So I would like to make a motion that we direct staff to remove these no parking signs on the right-of-way.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Carnahan and a second by Commissioner Kennard. Yeah, I remember the discussion. I was kind of amazed that staff acted so quickly to get out there and do that, you know, but, okay, so is there any public comment on the motion? Is there any further committee, Commissioner? Yes, sir, Commissioner Kennard.
I'll just make a quick comment here that I do think, I believe I remember hearing Randy say, you know, we'll get it posted. And I thought, well, all right. I mean, if it needs to happen, it needs to happen. But I think we just we jumped the gun a little bit there.
Yeah.
Some more discussion was in order that as the business park develops, that this is what's coming. But as of right now, not necessary at this point. So
Yeah.
I hate to spend the money to go put them in and now spend the money to go take them out. But taking them out at this point is the right thing to do.
Yeah, as you said, my vision of this was when we were kind of talking about this, when we were talking about future traffic light and future, you know, what the intersection was going to be like and the business park. And that's what I said. I mean, staff jumped right on it, but I thought that was like one of the first things out there.
Yeah, and again, we did send a direction, but I didn't think it was going to happen that quick. So I appreciate y'all's support on getting them out of there. When the time's right, okay, but not today.
Yeah, they're not going to throw them away. We'll have them when they're
Right,
ready.
right.
Okay, so any other discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That's unanimous. And anything else for us, Commissioner Carnahan?
No, that's it.
Okay. Commissioner Kennard, anything for us today?
I'll just bring it up here. I guess probably just looking for some direction. Maybe Ms. Lynn can help me out here. I would say probably in the last 3 or 4 weeks, conservatively, I've had 3 different homeowners, or 2 homeowners in one business, mention to me that they've been told that they can't get a permit for a floating dock at their house, that they've got a fixed height dock, and at low tide, it's a problem for boarding and unloading their boat, and they're wanting to put in a floating dock, and they're being told that they can't. Is that something that as a commissioner that I would bring forward, or is that something that we bring forward and ask the board to direct staff to bring something forward to give people permission to do that? Or allow that in code, or leave it alone, or what?
Can you answer his question, Madam Chair?
I believe it may, without researching it, I think it has something to do with the manatee protection element, manatee protection plan, and how many boat docks or boat slips are allowed. So if that's the case, if my memory is correct, then that would take an LDC change and a comp plan change. If that's what it is, and I think it is, but I can't be sure, but I can certainly look into it and find out, which it is.
I think what the commissioner's asking for is find out
Look
what the
into it.
issue is and see if it's something that, because I don't know the situation. I remember when I lived in Crystal River on a canal, the issue wasn't a floating dock as much as how much of the canal you were allowed to take up with a floating dock. You were only allowed certain distance from your seawall with a floating dock, and that caused some problems depending on the size of your boat. But I don't know the circumstance, so.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes.
also remember now, we had this conversation too, that we didn't want all of a sudden floating docks being put in so other people can dock their boats. So I think, yeah, all of it needs to be looked at, but I know we did have some conversation on that, so.
So I guess that, I think it's gonna take a change
Okay.
to either the comp plan or the LDC, and either of those would have to go to the PDC first and then come to the board. So I'll research and,
And what I'm curious about, is it an outright prohibition against floating docks? Or is it an outright, is it in certain areas or under certain circumstances, or, you know, because that would be interesting to know too.
I don't think it's floating docks, but I could be wrong, but I will absolutely look into it.
That's why I appreciate you saying, I don't know, we'll find out.
Mr.
Yes,
Chair,
yes.
we've got, the way it was presented to me, the first time was an individual that's moving up here from a different county and building a new home. He and his wife are building a retirement home. And he said, what is it with you people up here? You don't like floating docks? I can't get a dock, you know, we're building this, but I can't get a, I said, I didn't know we had a prohibition against them, but I can certainly.
Does he have a house here, there yet?
Yeah, it's well under construction.
Okay.
But anyway.
Because I know we have the issue about an accessory structure without a primary.
Oh, no, this one, last time I saw, I think they already had their roof on and so forth. So I think they're making progress.
So they don't even have a dock there at all?
They've got a fixed dock,
Okay, and they want to add to it.
and then
Once it goes down.
want to do a floating dock so they can just step on and off the
Well,
boat.
the attorney will get us some information and bring that back to us, and then we can find, because I guess then, if something has to be changed, we'll have to decide if we want to do that or not, right? Okay,
We'll put that on the outstanding
great.
items list, so
We'll call that
Randy
the
can
floating dock.
ask me daily why it's not done.
Okay.
Thank you. I have nothing else.
Anything else?
Well, at least
Okay.
he's consistent.
He definitely, when it comes to timeliness of getting things done, he's very consistent.
All right. Let's see, Commissioner Davis, anything tonight?
No.
Okay, and Commissioner Slaybaugh, anything for us?
No, sir.
Okay, I just want to make one comment. I'm going to try to be nice about this, and I'll smile. It was pointed out to me, somebody sent me a copy of an editorial that said, I'm now known as Dr. No, because I always say no to everything, including outright saying no way, no how, was the quote, I believe, to the sheriff's budget. Okay, and those of you that were here heard precisely what I said.
My name was in there.
Okay, so this is another example where some people in the local media like to take what you say out of context. So again, for clarification, what I said was without I will support any amount of raise for all the deputies and all the law enforcement people, flat out, period, okay? But it's got to be demonstrated that's where it goes. That's what I said. So I said, no way, no how will I support an increase in that sheriff's millage rate until I know absolutely there's confirmation that if we give them that money, that's where it's going to go. That's what I said. Did I not say that? I said the issue is accountability. Show us what was spent last year on the deputies. Show us how much benefits, payroll, and everything went to the deputies for how many. And then, as far as I'm concerned, that's what we vote on. We don't mix everything else in with that, you know. And so now I'm being told that they have unsafe equipment and their bulletproof vests are not good, and it's all because we've cut his budget. And all I've said is I'm saying no without the backup and having the questions answered. So I just want to be clear about that. I'm 1,000% of paying our deputies the same or more than anybody else in Florida, period. Okay, but I want assurance that's where the money goes. And I can't say it enough and be more clear, that's what I say. So, with that said, we will now go to item P, as I flip over my agenda and read the back of it. Poor Doug. All right, okay, so, Madam Attorney, you have an item for us, P1. So.
I just got that.
This is actually the recommendations for changes to the noise ordinance to address, I'll say. I don't know that I can say alleviate. I just want to say address the issues that have been raised as to the blue waters of the Homosassa. And this is just an opportunity to set the public hearing for the draft ordinance, which is in your packets. There is a red line version in there which describes for you the types of changes that are going to be requested. And I can sum it up by saying it is simply a methodology to add, if the board determines that it wishes to add the blue water area to the list of areas which are considered to be noise sensitive zones. And there are some changes which make it available for you to add the blue waters to that category, and then also to add a different measurement mechanism to those noise sensitive zones, which would be the plainly audible standard. So that's what I've drafted for your consideration at your next meeting, and basically it mirrors what Crystal River has done.
So basically, if we pass this P1, we're setting the public hearing for July 12th at 1:30 on this ordinance, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's the action we'll be looking for. Members?
Motion to approve P1.
Okay.
Second.
Sorry.
Okay, good. Commissioner,
was
excuse
already
me.
in action.
That's all right, yeah, Commissioner Davis makes the motion, second by Commissioner Schleybaugh. And you had a comment, ma'am, before we go to public comment?
I did, sir.
Okay, yes.
I just wanted to ask, first of all, thank you. I love plainly audible. You know, I've been a big fan of that, which is plainly audible. Thank you. But I was wondering, when you say all of the blue water, are you saying that we need to direct staff to kind of lay out where the like designate the noise sensitive zones?
In addition to changing the ordinance, which this is changing the ordinance, there's also a draft resolution. The resolution will come after you adopt the ordinance, and that's where the board needs to define the areas by legal description that it wishes to have be designated as a noise sensitive zone. It can be the blue waters, it can be other areas, it's whatever you all decide you want it to be, and then we'll have to ask staff to please come up with a description.
Okay, because
And then we have to post signs.
This is kind of like what we did with the rates. You know, first you pass the ordinance and say we're going to do this, and then the resolution allows us to add and subtract depending on what we think should go to it, correct? Is that
So
right?
this might be a time, if you wanted to, say what you want the resolution to look like, so when it comes back, it can have some words in there that you're looking for.
Well, thank you, if I may, sir, if I still have the floor.
Please go ahead, yes.
When I read this, direct staff to designate the noise sensitive zones, and what I came up with, the zones, the first one is the Narrows to Fishbourne, is it called the Narrows? The channel, the Skinnies, I'm not a boater, but to Fishbowl Bridge, basically all of blue water. And then behind Fishbowl Bridge,
It's all blue water.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, behind Fishbowl Bridge is still blue water. I want to make sure that's covered because those houses are really close to the water. It's very narrow and, they're right in people's faces and so.
Yesterday it was something.
Is it, is it the Skinnies, is it the narrow, I mean, how-
The enter of the blue water,
the entrance to the blue
The entrance
water?
to the blue water, yes.
And Mark Edwards will understand
Mark
what
Edwards
y'all
will
are
know
saying?
exactly where that is, yes.
Hopefully Mark Edwards is watching.
I would assume he will help us with the descriptions to include in that. Yes.
Thank you.
I'm
Yes.
just gonna go back and ask the question, is it enforceable?
My understanding is that the sheriff or his representatives got up here and said, yes, it is. And so that's what I'm going with. If the sheriff's the one that's out there writing tickets and he says it's enforceable,
Okay.
I'll support and go with it.
Sir,
Yeah,
if I
yeah,
may?
yes.
When I met with FWC in Tallahassee, I made sure to have a meeting, and they use the verbiage which is plainly audible. That is the key to enforcing.
Okay. And Commissioner Carr.
Wouldn't it make sense, Ms. Lynn, to just define, and I guess this is a question for Mark Edwards, wouldn't it make sense just to define the westernmost boundary of it and say anything east of that through the blue waters? Because that would continue on then under the bridge and east of the bridge. So if you just define that westernmost boundary, everything else east of that is your blue waters, wherever you want that western line in.
I think it's got to be easy for everybody to understand, to be easily enforceable, so.
I'm going to rely heavily on those that understand
Believe
these
in Mark-
things,
Mark
which would be Mark Edwards.
Yes, he'll know.
And we have to have signage. That's the key to the ordinance requires signage. So I would assume we're going to have a sign at the beginning, maybe somewhere along the way, and then also at the end. So.
Okay. So the motion then is to set the public hearing. So that's where we are.
So moved.
Is there any, did we
We already
take?
got a motion and a second. That's right.
I think we did. We have a motion and a second. Did we take public comment on that? This is just to set the hearing. Okay. Commissioners, anything else?
No, sir.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. I do have to back up 1 second. I had one other item which I think you guys will be highly interested in. CJ Reynolds came up to me after our workshop this morning and said, since there's such particular interest in water issues in Citrus County, Citrus may be interested in doing, and she goes, we're kind of conferenced out for the year, but Citrus may be interested in maybe helping to put together something region-wide dealing with water issues of all types. In other words, water levels, water withdrawals, water storm, everything to do with water, because all of our districts deal with it. And this would be the chance for us to sit down with other communities and share and hear from the experts and whatever. And she said if there was any interest in us doing that, that perhaps, our staff could get with their staff in the future. And not just for here, because we can sit around here and talk about it, but I think what she was proposing is we might do something maybe down at the TBRPC and invite, and she was very clear about saying this, elected officials, bringing elected officials from other counties and cities together down there to discuss, and we would stick to what she called the high-level water issues, okay? Meaning policy decisions relating to water, okay? Yes?
I think that's a great idea, and I'm gonna tell you why. FAC, has that water policy board. When I was on that, I finally stopped going to it because it was nothing but for down south. Nothing north of even Tampa and even Sarasota. Everything was down south and everything was directed down south. So I think this is a good idea because it can get, our area talking about the water issues that we have versus, water issues that are down south.
Can we put that on, Ms. Scott, can we put this on our list and maybe bring it back at a future, whenever we can get it on the agenda, let's have a little discussion, put it on the agenda so the public knows we're going to talk about it, and let's talk about the concept of a regional high-level water issue. I think she called it a leadership summit type of thing. Yes, sir.
I think it's a good idea to talk about it. The problem that we face, though, is that the water authority that we belong to, Hernando County is on the same page with Citrus County, but we are outvoted by Sumter and Marion County on that authority, and they do not belong to the TBRPC. So anything, even though it might be suggested policy that comes out of there, if it's anything that would affect the future water supply for those two counties and their projected growth, it's not going to be adopted by the water authority that we belong to.
Well, the only thing we might get out of this would be what maybe other counties have run into the same situation we have here, and they might have some insight on, oh yeah, this is what we did. There might not be any answer to it.
No, I'm not opposed to it.
But I think after Commissioner Davis brought up her question today, CJ said, every county has water issues, but every county's water issues is slightly different of what they're concerned with, you know? So I'm just saying, yes.
Yeah, and for those who didn't watch the workshop, I know we're riveting TV, but who didn't watch the workshop this morning, I brought up, it was on resiliency, and I brought up the issue that we had in the past, when the year that we had saltwater intrusion into our river systems. And that was because the aquifer was down, we were in a drought period, we had a big storm, and it absolutely was the last nail in the coffin to our vegetation and everything and our beautiful crystal clear rivers. We've spent millions of dollars, mostly provided by the state, on replanting eelgrass. So as we move into sea level rise and more ferocious storms and bigger drought and flooding cycles and whatnot, we absolutely have to put pressure on the folks that are maintaining the aquifer. Talking to you, SwiftMed. And so the more that we can all band together and say, in the future, we have really got to protect that aquifer. Right now, it's bursting at the seams, but it hasn't always been that way, and it won't always be that way. And so we really, really have to do that. We're getting a lot of pushback. Commissioner Kennard and I both sit on Withlacoochee Regional Water Supply Authority, and we really need, did you just make a face?
Yes.
They both did.
Yeah. And so I love this idea from CJ, from Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council, and I'll be all for that and make a lot of noise.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Any other commissioners?
Here,
Mr.
and I know y'all are not water board, I'm glad I got off of it, but the problem, and Commissioner Davis, you know this too, the aquifer has no boundaries. So the issue, you brought up a good issue, you get into some of these bigger cities and counties, they want our water. The villages want our water, okay? And when I look at it as water quality issues, from the, let's look at stormwater, let's look at how we can treat water to make our quality better. The aquifer, that's a tough one.
What I will say is one of the what's in it for me, no county wants to live next to a dying county that's on the ropes. And if we kill our rivers due to lack of planning, they are going to be in 30, 40 years, they're going to be next to counties that are not doing well. So this is a regional issue, and we've got to keep lobbying our neighbors, and that's why I love the idea of a symposium or whatnot that's multiple counties, and it doesn't even, I don't believe, have to be all Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council. We need Sumter there and we need Marion there because we sit, and I understand the Sumter issue, I get it.
Yeah, no, I know you do.
But if they end up being the bad neighbor that everybody doesn't like, maybe they'll start listening on that, and I'm just talking about that one particular aspect, that's all.
And you guys would understand what this is too. This is just an opportunity to gather some elected folks around the table that maybe have been down the road we have, or have some experiences, or hear some from people there that have shared like they did on the housing. I got to tell you, that housing issue was very interesting when you have developers sitting there going, well, it's always great hearing what you government people think. Would you like to hear what us that build the houses have to think? And I mean, that was a good insight. So maybe the same thing with the water. I know stormwater is like in Tampa and St. Pete, every time it's stored, the water comes out of the stormwater, into the streets or whatever. And we're dealing with that quality. So anyway, that was her thought. I said, hey, let us just not have a meeting, but let's run it by the board. You guys think about it, see if you think it's got some merit, and if so, what you'd want to talk about. And if so, then we can ask staff to put something together with the TBRPC, and I think we'll get more attendance and we'll get more of the experts in these fields if we do it down there and we get everybody to come there rather than having everybody come up here. Yes, ma'am.
Would we be able to do this workshop or summit while you're still in place? Did she think November would be too early?
She just said try not to do before August.
Okay. I really like the idea, and if we could get it, you've been part of this, and I think that I would like to do it before November if we could.
If it wasn't a big deal, if it wasn't a multi-day thing, if it was just they go down and, I would say it would be something like maybe, I think what they're proposing is maybe a meet in the morning and go to lunch and have lunch or something. Or maybe, I think what I saw was what we do with our elected leadership summit but only for water. You know, just do it for that and talk about everything that goes along with it. So again, I think if we think about it and go, no, the more I thought about it, it doesn't make sense, or the more I thought about it, I'd like to talk about this, and we can discuss it, okay? So
Sounds
we'll
good.
put that on a future agenda, got that on the list? Okay, and I'm sorry for backtracking, but I didn't want it, I thought you all would be interested in that, so. And that's what I love about working with them, they listen to what you say, you know, because she came up and said, listen to the board, talk about this, you guys might be interested. Okay, we are now back to open to the public. Is there anybody that would like to speak again? I'll remind everybody, we're going to recess after this meeting. We'll be back for our land discussions tonight at 5:01, and I'll announce the public the other coming meetings, but right now, this is open to the public for anything you want to talk about. Is there
It's
anything
open to the public, Alonda.
open to?
Anyone that wants to say thanks or
Yeah.
anything for
Okay.
anything.
That's what I was searching for. Thank you,
That's what
Ms.
you were
Lynn,
searching
yes,
for.
thank
Okay.
you.
Yes.
And it looks like your backyard was full again this weekend.
Oh, all my closest friends and
Okay,
not friends.
I'm sorry.
Alonda McCarty.
We have gone way beyond the four, well, yeah, yes, so let's, for the record.
Alonda McCarty.
Thank you.
Homosassa. I just want to say thank you very much. Denise worked really hard on this ordinance. It's been a while for us to get it back to you guys. We heeded your words very carefully, Commissioner Kitchens, about making sure that it was enforceable, but also making sure that it was something that was going to solve the issues that we're seeing on the waterways. You know, we carried some of these, you know, wording all the way to Tallahassee just to make sure that we were on the right track. And I just want to thank you guys so much on behalf of the area and all the residents that live there and all the elderly people that aren't going to get run out of their homes. And I could just cry just telling you some of the stories, and I know they're going to be overjoyed. So thank you very much. Thank you, Denise. You guys have done a wonderful job, and we're really looking forward to this. So thank you.
Thank you.
4th of July is definitely testing the patience at its highest limit right now. So, but thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wish to speak about anything? And while Maxine's coming up, I'll just say, please pass the word that everybody might be here on July 12th for that ordinance to make sure we get it right. You know, everything in it that everybody wants to have in it, so. Yes, Maxine, you ready? Come on up here, right. I think she's just filling out the card.
Thank you. That's the magic word for today. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for carefully listening to everything, re-examining new evidence brought forth by Charles Lee. Charles, I hope you're watching. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming forth with that information. I think it was just critical, and I think it worked out fine. I mean, who knows? Maybe the legislature will come back next year with something else. Who would know? I mean, they say, you know, for the environment, our victories are temporary and our defeats are permanent. That's a pessimistic way of looking at it, but you just have to be realistic because it's always being threatened. And so you just have to, you know, decide what's important and what can I do about it. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, Charles Lee.
Thank you. Is there any other public input? Any other public comment? Yeah, before, you know, commissioners respond to anything, I'd just say, as Commissioner Kennard said, Mr. Lee and I were not always on the same page. But I guarantee you this, I could probably, 10 years from now, he could probably call me on the telephone and I'd recognize his voice. Immediately, because at those M-cores, you know, at the end of the day, I could say, okay, I know this is Charles Lee talking now, I can tell. Okay, commissioners, any comments to any of the public input?
No.
Okay, anything down here? Okay, so the next meetings that we have coming up, excuse me, or is our regular meeting July 12th, our regular meeting July 26th, and our regular meeting August 9th. These are all at 1 o'clock. They'll be held right here. And also, we've listed many of our upcoming workshops and special meetings. And if there's no other business before us at this time, Madam Clerk, I think I've covered everything I need to. Anything, Ms. Scott, from you that we need to talk about that we haven't today? You did a great job. You did a
Mr.
great
Chairman,
job.
I was going to say, she looks good in that chair.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
you got to
so.
say dinky dough.
Okay, so we will stand and recess until 5:01, okay? Good evening, everyone. We'll call our meeting back to order. We're here back for the T1 public, or the T public hearings. Our first up tonight is going to be T1, which is the 501 time certain PUD 22-01. And let me ask overall, Madam Attorney, are the applicants okay? We all understand the rules, or do you want me to go through the rules, the way we conduct our meetings? Does anybody feel that's necessary? Anybody going to swear witnesses in, anything like that?
Looking at the applicants, I believe that they are familiar with the way we do things.
Okay, just double check. So,
Been through it once or twice.
right, so if they're okay with that, then we'll go ahead, and if the public's here to speak, we'll deal with that when that happens. Okay, so, let's see, Madam Attorney, we're gonna conduct a public hearing, we're gonna do an ordinance, you're gonna tell us what it is, you're gonna do for ex parte, so let's start with T1.
Yes, sir, thank you. With regard to PUD-22-01, I need to know if you've had any ex parte communications you need to disclose for the record, and we'll start with Commissioner Carnahan.
No.
No.
Thank you. And at the conclusion of this public hearing, you're going to be asked to consider an ordinance of Citrus County, Florida, political subdivision of the state of Florida, amending the Citrus County Land Development Code Atlas by redesignating approximately 29.7 acres from the general commercial district and the medium density residential district to the general commercial district and the medium density residential district with a plan unit development for non-residential uses with various land development code deviations, providing for applicability, providing for modifications that may arise from consideration at a public hearing, providing for severability, providing for codification and scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date. And I believe the applicant is here to make their presentation.
Is the applicant ready? Yes, please come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is McGregor Love, 215 North Eola Drive, Orlando, Florida, from Lowndes Law, here on behalf of the applicant. By way of background, we were before the Planning Commission, about a month ago, and at that hearing, we had several deviations we were asking for. Most of those were supported by staff. Some of them were not. And I'm proud to say that as we're here today, all of the deviations that we're still seeking are supported by staff. So in recognition of that, I'm going to run through the hearing, and if you run through the presentation, if you have any questions about specifics, please let me know. The whole team is here to answer questions, but given that we have staff support on our deviations, I'll limit sort of the discussion of the individual items. And I'm going to take a guess at how okay, we are doing it automatically. This is the subject property. Here it's at the northwest corner of Norvell Highway and Lecanto Highway. It's about 29.52 acres. Next slide. The current future land use and zoning, as you can see on the map there. General commercial and just a sliver of medium density residential just there at the top. Next slide. And the request is the approval of the PUD master plan for non-residential uses, and it includes certain deviations, which I'll walk through. Next slide. This is an overall view of the master plan here. You can see the out parcels there at the south and the east side. Then there's the anchor tenant on the west side. And then there's the parking lot. Next slide. And this is the anchor tenant. This is Target that will be going into the plaza. Next slide. And now we'll walk through some of the deviations. These are the landscape buffers, impervious surface area. We initially went to the Planning Commission with a request for substantially less than 350 square feet of landscaping. I think it was 200 square feet of landscaping. We worked with staff and we brought that up and redesigned it to 350, and in the staff report we have staff support for that. Maximum ISR of 70, that's supported. Then there's other two type C buffer waiver deviation requests, which are staff supported as well. Next slide. Parking and loading waivers. One space for 250 square feet, 503 spaces in lieu of 541, staff supported. And then the parking related to the anchor tenant, we proposed that 10.5% be placed near the anchor building, and that's supported by staff. And we also have a decreased requirement for loading zones, which we understand that if we require more in the future, we'll have to come back and revise this, and that's supported by staff as well. Next slide. Traffic. The placement of driveway aprons. These are related to you can see these on the master plan, how the driveway aprons are within, what we believe are the functional area of the intersection. Staff supports both of those deviations. And we've kind of worked on the specifics. That was a topic of fairly extensive discussion between the applicant and staff to work out, how that would make sense on the plan. Next slide. Signage. This one does have a point that I need to bring up, which is that the bottom deviation, the last one, we realized that the calculation from our plans actually included a greater area of the sign area than code actually required. We realized that we don't need that deviation anymore, so we're removing it. And that was actually the one that was not supported by staff. We realized that it's no longer necessary. And then there are the other two sign deviations, which are supported. Next slide. And this is just a kind of an image showing the sort of the landscaping. Next slide. This is an elevation of the actual master tenant sign. Next slide. That is the anchor tenant sign. That will be target sign. The tenant these are the individual tenant signs. Next slide. And this is some notes on wildlife preservation. They have submitted an eagle nest take permit to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. We're expecting that to be issued soon. And we do have our environmental expert here who's able to speak about this in more detail. There's also a gopher tortoise permit that the applicant will obtain. Next slide. So our request is approval of the PUD, subject to the conditions that staff has imposed. And as I said, I'm here to answer questions. We have folks with different expertise on the team here who can speak to their individual areas of expertise. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And thank you.
Thank you. And there's 15 conditions. You're okay with all 15 conditions?
Yes.
Okay, great. Any questions for the applicant from staff?
No.
Okay, thank you. Don't go too far.
I won't.
Okay. Staff ready for their presentation?
Absolutely.
All right. Oh, excuse me. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. Commissioners, any questions of the applicant so far?
Yes.
Okay, yes. There is a couple questions.
I had brought up before in relation to the Suncoast Parkway lighting issue, trying to make sure you brought up environmental concerns, and thank you very much for that and your attention to that. Are you doing anything in the lighting plan to go for the Dark Skies initiative, which is the shielded lights and whatnot to reduce light pollution?
I'm not sure. I'm going to confer with the team and see who's able to speak to that.
Yeah, it would be great if going forward, I don't know if it's on the books that we have to do it or not, but it would be the right thing to do for the Nature Coast to always try to look at those sorts of impacts.
I'll speak with the team while staff's doing their presentation and see if we can address that.
Super, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Yes, ma'am. Mr. Slagle.
Sir, I'm curious, I live right behind this, okay?
Yes.
So my zip code is Lecanto. And even though I love seeing Beverly Hills, I don't know how you came to that name, because is that corner is still considered Lecanto? It's just something. And the other thing is the bald eagle. Does a certain tribe have to come and witness that, or is it all through Fish and Wildlife? The nesting.
Our environmental expert can speak to that. Sorry.
Hi, good evening. Abby Naylor, 14706 Tudor Chase Drive, Tampa, Florida. Actually, can you just repeat the question since I was in the back? I just want to make sure I addressed your concern.
I watched those eagles a lot, and it had a little hatchling, and they come by, and we all kind of been watching. There's several of them, and I don't know how many, but on that piece of property, there was a hatchling. So is that what you call them? Hatchlings?
Chicks,
fledgling.
fledglings,
It's a baby.
chicks.
And I was just, I was talking to somebody, and then they were telling me the process, and they said that, that, I don't know if it's a Seminole tribe or a tribe, is assigned to that, and they gather everything and take it away. Is that still part of the process for you?
So we have to obtain a permit from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service consults with the tribes.
Okay.
And they have to review under consultation with the tribes and also agree to the nest removal permit. And just for clarification, the nest is only removed after there are no chicks, no eggs, everything's fledged for the season. So it is not part of the process for us to allow, the Seminole tribes, if they would like to do that, would coordinate with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and say, we would like to collect, whatever is there. We don't really get involved in that process. That's kind of between the federal government and the tribes.
Okay.
And they would notify us if they wanted anything.
I just felt it was important that you say this on the record, because some people are like, they're gonna kick that baby out of the tree, and I'm like,
Right.
the baby will be gone, and
Yeah.
but I just felt it should be, put there for PR.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then whoever could answer my Beverly Hills question. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the commissioners? Okay. We ready for the staff, or we got to?
If we could address.
Sure. I mean, I don't understand why the board cares what you call your development,
We're
but if
here-
you want to answer that question, go right ahead.
We're here to answer questions.
Well, I was just curious, because it could be confusing with the zip
Well, it's their
code.
project, let them.
I was just wondering,
Okay, all right.
I'm curious why,
Yeah.
you can name it whatever you want, I was just curious.
I'm happy to answer that question. Will Anderson, 100 2nd Avenue South, St. Petersburg, Florida, with the Ferber Company, who's the master developer of this project. So that was really just a placeholder name for this project to get obtain approvals, et cetera, and it was really happened very early on. We are actually it's just a placeholder
Okay.
for approvals, et cetera. We are definitely going to name it something more local, et cetera. We're still working through some branding, et cetera. So
Thank you.
hopefully that answered the question.
Thank you. Anything else for the applicant at this time? Okay, now we're ready for the staff report. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This application will establish a PUD for non-residential uses in the GNC and MDR district. The applicant has submitted an infrastructure permit and a plat application that are pending approval upon this application, and that will potentially recognize the overall configuration of the subject property as proposed. The biological study submitted by the applicant delineates gopher tortoise burrows in an active bald eagle's nest and other potential species. The study notes a 660-foot buffer from the nest. The applicant has stated that they are coordinating with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to remove the tree with the nest outside the nesting season. The master plan proposes 10 parcels with a shared DRA system. This site is in the PSA, so we'll be connecting to central utilities. Lot 10 proposes a 135,000 square foot retail anchor store. The other lots are not identified as part of this application, although the applicant is aware that the lot sizes may restrict some potential uses. The applicant is proposing a few deviations, the first being ISR. The GNC district allows for up to 70% ISR. The applicant is requesting a development-wide ISR of 80%. The applicant also is proposing a deviation from buffer requirements. There is residential to the north, so the LDC says you need a type D with a wall. The applicant is proposing a 15-foot type D with a fence. Regarding the acre store, the applicant is requesting 200 square feet. Originally, the applicant was requesting 200 square feet instead of 400 square feet required for every 10 parking spaces. The PDC recommended approval of this application, but not for that deviation. After the PDC hearing, the applicant requested 350 square feet, which staff is in support of. There's also other deviations regarding the anchor store, like overall parking spaces, loading zone areas, and side and rear parking, all of which we support. This is the applicant's master signage plan. They are proposing 13 freestanding signs on 8 parcels, 2 for the anchor store, 2 for the overall development signs. Staff does support this deviation. There was also a request to put the signage in the buffers. We may be in support of that, but we want to see some type of rendering or something that will meet the intent of the buffer. So that can all be worked out during the permitting process. This is what the signage will look like. Okay. Lastly, there was ongoing discussions heavily between the engineering division and the applicant. We specifically worded the conditions that way they can keep ongoing discussions with them and work everything out and come to agreement. overall, this project has been, it's a big project, and working with the applicant has been a pleasure, as well as everyone on their team. So we're glad to bring this application to you today. That's all.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions for staff? Does the applicant have any questions for staff? Okay. Staff have any questions of anything that's been brought up? Are we clear? I mean, I just want to be clear of the fact that it seems like all the objections have all been worked out, and you have an ongoing dialogue for anything you think might be issues, right? So
That's right. Yeah, it's
Okay.
just ongoing. All the deviations we're in support of, and then ongoing about the signage in the buffer, and then ongoing discussions with the engineering division.
Great.
regarding
Okay, and
access.
it's your understanding as well too, sir? That's okay, great. Okay, well, if there's no more questions from the commissioners, we will open this for public hearing. At this time, if you're here to speak in favor or opposed to this ordinance, we'd invite you to come forward. Is there anyone here to speak in favor or opposed? Anyone speak in favor or opposed? Third and final time. Anyone to speak in favor or opposed of this application? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment. Commissioners,
Mr.
what's your
Chair.
pleasure? Yes, sir.
Move
Commissioner
for
Carnahan.
Move for approval of PUD-22-01 A and B based on the competent substantial evidence and along with the 15 conditions.
I second.
All right, so I heard Commissioner Kennard on the second down there. Okay, so it's to approve PUD 2201 A and B, and what was that?
With 15 conditions, yeah.
Yeah, with 15 conditions. Okay, and we've had the public hearing. Is there any further commission discussion on this? No. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And that passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to item T2, the 505. I guess they thought this was going to be tough. They had to bring all these folks with them.
They were prepared.
They brought witnesses.
That's
You're
right.
not used to seeing those.
That's right. Okay, so let's see. We have item T2. Ready to move forward with that? You want to start the process for us, Madam Attorney?
Yes, with regard to CPA AAPUD-22-06, do you have any ex parte communications to disclose? And we'll start with Commissioner Kennard.
No.
No.
No?
No.
No.
Thank you. Now, at the conclusion of this hearing, you're going to be asked to consider two ordinances. First, the Atlas Amendment is an ordinance of Citrus County, Florida, a political subdivision of the state of Florida, amending the Citrus County Land Use Atlas map by redesignating approximately 1.3 acres from the Coastal and Lakes Residential District with mobile homes allowed to the Coastal and Lakes Residential District with a planned unit development for a restaurant and residential uses, providing for conflicts, providing for modification that may arise from consideration at public hearings, providing for severability, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date. And a comprehensive plan amendment, an ordinance of Citrus County, Florida, political subdivision in the state of Florida, amending the Citrus County future land use map by redesignating approximately 1.3 acres from the low-intensity coastal and lakes district to the coastal and lakes commercial district, providing for applicability, providing for severability, providing for inclusion, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for modifications that may arise from consideration at public hearing, and providing for an effective date. And I believe we have Mr. Stillwell here for the applicant.
Is the applicant ready?
Good evening. On behalf of the Roots, Clark Stillwell, 320 South Highway 41, Inverness, Florida. This is a three-part application: comp plan amendment, LDC Atlas amendment, coastal and lakes mobile homes to coastal and lakes commercial, and a PUD. The commercial aspect is a restaurant. Mr. Root is here with me tonight. He has been the owner-operator for 31 years. I'm not going to go through the PowerPoint. This comes to you with your Planning Commission approval unanimously. There was no public opposition at the Planning Commission. I don't expect any tonight. If you do this, you will codify what already exists. You'll take a non-conforming use and make it a conforming use. Basically, your Coastal and Lakes Commercial District talks about commercial uses, small commercial uses, in combination with residential uses on site. This is exactly what you have here. You have the restaurant, which has existed for years, and then you have the Roots, who live next door for years, with no problems from their neighbors. So you meet the definition of the plan. Compatibility is established by 31 years of operation. The PUD allows them the benefit of going from a non-conforming use, where you debate whether or not you can pour a new slab, and whether that's an expansion to, yes, you can do that and improve the property and maintain the property. So on behalf of the Roots, we would ask that you approve this. They've been there a long time. He wants to retire, and to retire, he needs to do this so he can sell the property. Very simple.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions for the applicant?
You haven't ate there, you eaten there, you ought to, it's good.
Okay, very good. Well, thanks, sir. Staff
Thank
ready
you.
with their presentation?
Yeah, and he summarized it very well, so I don't have a lot to say, but we'll go ahead and talk about it. This is the front of the restaurant. This is changing from CL to CLC on the future land use map, and from CLR-MH to CLC with a PUD on the land use atlas, approximately 1.3 acres in size. This is where it's located on East Gulf to Lake. We're way out here. You can see East Boy Scout Road there on the southern part, so this is pretty far out on the roadway. It is existing. The staff report talks about, the property appraiser said these buildings were constructed in the 50s. We did find a 1970s survey that says there was a tavern here then. So we know there is a restaurant, tavern, a duplex, and 2 single-family residences on the site. This is the zoning. I cannot explain to you why in 1990 this became residential. It was already in place as commercial, and for some reason became residential. So as Mr. Stillwell has talked about, it's very tough to allow expansions of commercial when it's already non-conforming. So this will take care of that. It'll allow them to do whatever they want to this restaurant, provided they meet land development code standards, of course. So this is another look at the site. That's the duplex off to the left, and this is the restaurant there on the right. And this is a little patio area they have at the restaurant. And this is looking down Crabtree Point. One of the single-family residences is right there on the left. Crabtree is a private road that abuts this site. Here is the planned unit development. I did color it to try to make it a little bit clearer. The red is the restaurant. The pink are the residential buildings. You've got the duplex and then the 2 single-family. And then you've got some accessory structures, a dock and a couple sheds, things like that. The Planning and Development Commission did review this on May 19th, 2022, and recommended approval with the 7 conditions.
Okay, Commissioners, any questions of staff? Does the applicant have any questions of staff?
No, thanks.
Ms. Stoll, you good with the 7 conditions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, well, if commissioners have no questions, at this time we'll conduct a public hearing. Is anyone here to speak in favor or oppose to the application? Anyone to speak in favor or oppose? Third and final time. Anyone to speak in favor or oppose? We will close the public hearing and ask the commissioners what their pleasure is.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir, Commissioner
For
Carnahan.
approval, CPA-AAPUD 2606, with the 7 conditions, A and B.
A and B, okay.
Second.
So we have a second by Commissioner Kennard. Okay, is there any further board discussion on that? Okay, seeing none, commissioners, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay, and that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Stillwell. Okay, thank you for your 31 years in Citrus County.
Yes.
Thursday night, prime ribs back.
Okay, we will now move on to the 510 CPA 22-01 revision of multiple policies in the comprehensive plan. Madam Attorney.
Okay, we are due, this is our transmittal hearing, so we don't have to read the ordinance, but
Okay. What's up to you? I guess everybody knows it's here. If you choose tonight to move forward with this, we'll transmit it, then the agencies will respond, and then it'll come back to us for adoption here, right? That's our usual procedure.
yes.
So staff is actually the applicant, right? So we want to hear a staff presentation on this?
Right. This actually revises some of the text in the comprehensive plan on several elements: future land use element, recreation and open space element, and the conservation element. So you'll recall there have been some plan unit developments before you that have had a little bit of a challenge with open space, because we have a policy in the comp plan that says you cannot use constructed drainage facilities for open space. We already know that nowadays they're not the big ditches that they used to be with the fences, so they can be, especially in PUDs, used for open space. So you'll see that the biggest changes are in the future land use elements. So that particular area, trying to change the wording to allow constructed drainage facilities to also count towards that open space standard. You'll see some other comments in here, like the recreation space element says that they perhaps can include drainage retention areas in a PUD, which was certainly allowed. There was some discussion at the Planning and Development Commission when they reviewed this on May 5th regarding the changes to the RV park and mobile home park areas. Staff has taken out the 30% for RV parks and 20% for mobile home parks and said they should maximize that because both of those come before you as master plans anyway. So whatever is appropriate may be appropriate for some but not others. So that's why we took out that certain number. The Planning and Development Commission debated on that. They did finally recommend approval on it, but they did express some concern on taking away a set number. PUDs are so unique, every one of them, so it's kind of hard to fit a number on there. You have some comments as well from Mr. Stillwell on these texts. Appears to be how staff is doing, how staff is proposing. There was a comment about perhaps making a lower open space standard for affordable housing, and you'll see that in there as well.
Okay, Commissioners, any question of the staff? None. Okay. We will open this to public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in favor or opposed to the proposed application? Yes, sir.
Good evening again. On June 13th.
For the record, would you tell us your name again and everything? For
Clark Stairwell, P.O. Box 250, Inverness, Florida. I have 3 or 4 clients that are affected by this particular plan text. On the 13th of June, I sent you this letter with 10 examples of how DRAs are being used around the county to incorporate some commercial, some not commercial, into projects, and they're functioning as both DRAs and open space. They're really good examples. I've also pointed out to you 2 projects. One's Crystal Ridge, which you've already approved, where we have significant drainage retention areas, acreage-wise, which really constitutes open space. And then I would point out to you, and at the Planning Commission, there was this discussion about, oh, we're taking away open space from Citrus County. And Citrus County is all about open space. Well, in fact, your comprehensive land use plan in the future land use element, based on your last year report, shows you had an 8% increase in total open space in the county, up to 145,000 acres of open space, up from 129,000 in 1994. And that's all Carl and conservation lands. So, you know, those comments, I can see where they could come from up top level, but this is just about residential projects in the relationship of that residential project with the open space in the recreational areas. And if you approve this, the projects we cited, they'll be at 24 to 25% open space standards. A small community park in Citrus County is 20 acres. The Coffin Trust piece is 640 acres. 20% open space is 120 acres, which is the equivalent of a regional park. But they don't have the population for a regional park, so you can see the disconnect, if you will. So we'd ask you to pass this along. DOE will review it in relationship to the statutory amendments that were made post-1990. This is a 1990 land use plan text, so it's rather dated.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor or opposed to this application? Anyone speak in favor or opposed? Third and final time. Okay, we're going to close public hearing. Commissioners, what's your pleasure with this?
Move approval of CPA-22-01, A and B.
Okay, Commissioner Carhan makes a motion, second by Commissioner Kennard for approval with A and B. And this is for the submittal of it. Any other discussion from the commissioners, comments? Okay, seeing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, staff. Congratulations for all the good work over there. Thank you. And commissioners, thank you for your hard work today, and we are adjourned.